The way you shake it, I can't believe it. I ain't never seen a
ass like that.
The way you move it.
Why did I pick this song?
Doing, doing, doing.
You know why? Because it's Stellar Blade time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Go Live. I am Gaz. I'm here with Asa. And we're here with the legendary David Jaffe, the new Xbox fanboy for life. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a incredible show. Incredible show. Shout out to 237 people already here. Tuned in. Sorry we're late. As always, this is part of the process now. Before we get into the usual things, Asa, how are you? Are you good?
I'm brilliant. I've had a weird week. This is probably the first week in my life where my wife has played more games than me. I've been keeping track of it slowly. I just came to this realization earlier today. She's played more games than me this week as she sat there playing her Power World. It's wrong. So I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna bring her on and she can have these conversations.
That's brilliant. Let's talk about Power. That'd be fun if she actually did come on. We're like, whoa. That'd be weird. Ladies and gentlemen, last but certainly not least, is an influential figure that you love to shit on. You treat your legends like shit, don't you? Ladies and gentlemen, it is David Jaffe. Digital round of applause. Are you giving head to your microphone?
I love this microphone. I watch back some of my videos when I'm like fingering the thing. I'm just like, because I just like a little, I don't know. Fuck you.
The same. Yeah. The same. How are you doing, Jaffe? Are you good?
I'm pretty good. I just took my Ritalin, and so it's like if you ever see Fast and the Furious when they hit the nitro button and there's the camera shot where it kind of, so it's currently in the process of getting to my brain. So you'll notice
do the opposite. Does it slow you down?
No,
it makes you go faster. Oh shit!
Mine, it lets me focus.
Wow.
I was up late last night, and I was up playing. What was I playing? I was playing Suicide Squad a lot late last night. And I've been up late a lot because I subscribed to, finally I pulled the trigger on GeForce now, and I've been playing Enshrouded over there, and I've been playing Sniper 5 again, which I just fucking love that game. I've been playing that at the highest settings over there. And so there's just been I've been gaming so late lately because there's just a lot to play.
Oh, that's good, man. I mean,
what's up, chat? You fucks, are you ready? You fucks. Who do we got in the chat right now? Want to know the opinion about Xbox going third party now and high five? Fuck you, Fernando. You fucking Abasong motherfucker. Real gamer David Jaffe, aka Mr. Salty XPS guy himself. Like I know who. Oh, Mr. Salty. That's the guy? What happened to Salty Gamer, Saltiest Gamer? Remember that guy? He was all over the place. I don't see him anymore. Is he okay? I know his health was bad. Dude's just mad because they went with God of War without him. I'm not mad at all, you fuck. I fucked your mother this morning, your wife this afternoon. What do I got to be mad about? Yeah, they smell like cheese and old tires, but they're, they get the job done.
What the fuck? That was a weird. I've replaced my soundtrack. Yes.
The energy that Asa has, we could maybe power Tinkerbell's vibrator. I just want you to know that. I just want you to know, Asa.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. Tinkerbell's. Yeah. Wow.
He's like, Tinkerbell has a vibrator. What?
Oh shit! First to trigger, Jaffe gets a cookie. Love you, David.
Fuck you, 1 pint, Johnny.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Well, it's funny you mentioned Suicide Squad because I haven't played it. I've got it. I need to play it. That game came out and it kind of did how we expected. I saw this one was a weird one, whereas a lot of people were almost predicting its downfall based on the
it's really weird. Really weird.
Yeah, but what was weird was the defense that seemed to, last minute real defense propped up for this game from some corners, really still resolute in that defense, and then spitting at the likes of IGN saying, fuck you, you suck, you don't know how to review games. And then there's the other corner of it where people are, I mean, this is sitting at like a 60 Metacritic. It's hardly being played on Steam. Player numbers are woefully low. This game looks like...
no surprise, because it's a $70 game and it's gotten shit on in reviews, and it's absolutely not a 60, but it's not worth $70 either. and it's almost like people. It's you know the way a lot of gaming culture is on the internet. It has to be shit or it's got to be brilliant, right? And so it's really neither. It's a really fun B title. If it was $40 or $30, or when it comes to Game Pass or PS Plus, people should play it because it plays great and it's a lot of fun. It's repetitive and it's a little goofy, but I dig it, man. It's kind of like Evil West, you know. It's one of those, you know. I liked Evil West. I thought it was a good game.
Fuck that game. That was a good.
Why?
Horrible game. Horrible.
Oh, I don't agree. I thought it was a really fun, turn off your mind, enjoy the experience game, and this is similar. But I mean, have you played Suicide Squad?
I have, yeah. Not the I played it for quite about 3 hours. It's not bad. I don't think it's a 60. I don't think it's a 60 at all.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But I will say, like, this is a massive dent in Rocksteady's name, man. This is a huge.
I don't even know. I don't know what that means anymore. A lot of the people have left. They've started that new company with the guys who founded Rocksteady, 100 stars or 50 stars or whatever they're calling it. The people who are still there are clearly taking orders from Warner Brothers, the brilliant people who decided to, you know, put a bunch of reality fucking shit on HBO Max, those people. So, you know, I don't know if Rockstar's reputation is already been kind of like, it's not Rockstar anymore or Rocksteady anymore. But anyway, I hear you. I
mean, this is early indications of it weren't that great. There was a lot of discourse surrounding. I think there's a lot of loyalty to the superheroes in this, and a lot of the discourse was. And I'm not a massive comic book guy, only recently getting into them. And one of the topics. Or bone of contention, Ace, I'll get into you a bit about the substance of the game. But on this particular point, I don't know if either of you gents have seen it, was the treatment of these superheroes. I don't want to offer spoilers, but the way these heroes
the spoilers in the title.
Well, no. I was alluding to what happens to them. Actually, that is in the title. But I don't want to say that actually happens, Jaffe. You ruined it for everyone.
It's in the title of the game.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a shared universe with the Arkham universe, and I saw a lot of vitriol against the
people are
treatment.
Idiots.
What do you
idiots.
Think yeah.
I love comic books, and one of the things I really do like about this game is, and I'm a big fan of Spider-Man 1 and 2 in Miles Morales, especially from Insomniac and Marvel. But what I really like about this game as a comic book fan is the fan service in this game is off the charts. It's really, really good if you like DC Comics. And more to that, it's not it doesn't feel as much like Insomniac doing their own take on Spider-Man. It feels like these guys are beholden to the DC Comics, and that's really, you know, I like that. I like that I understand some of the inside jokes. I dig all of that stuff and the references. I was at the Daily Planet last night, and it was really fun to go through the office and look at everybody's desk, and I know all the characters from the comics, and so they've got certain things on the desk that are, you know, attributed to that character and whatnot. So I actually enjoy that aspect. But this concept, let's put it this way, if you love comic books enough that you claim you're upset about how the heroes have been treated in Suicide Squad, then you don't really love comic books because you don't read them. Because it's like, do you know who died last year in Marvel Comics? Miss Marvel. Oh my God, she's dead. Yeah, she's really dead, idiot. You fucking idiot. Who the fuck actually, I mean, it's like watching the end of Godzilla and going, you're not going to make any more Godzilla movies because he's dead. Right?
Well,
I mean, it's crazy to me that people, what are you, fucking 5 years old?
I don't feel that because I'm not like that, but I saw so many people like, this is an absolute outrage. How you treat Batman like this? What's his voice actor's name? Like, this is his legacy. It's Todd.
Oh, his voice in this game is weird though, because he sounds like Michael Ironside. Like, they may give the credit to Conroy. Is that his name? Kevin Conroy, the guy who just died recently. And I wasn't a Batman animated series guy, so maybe this always sounds like him, but every time I hear Batman in this game, he sounds like fucking Michael Ironside. I don't get it. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know though. So a lot of this, it's weird. Like, I'm observing it from the outside, and I know that a lot of like stiff comic book fans who view this through a certain lens, and there's a quite a rabid attack on it, as well as a quite staunch defense in a minority.
Yeah, you've got a guy in your chat right now, Kuru2109, saying, Jaffe, they literally disrespected the Justice League in the game. Good. They're the bad guys, you moron.
Well, actually, I was talking to a friend of mine called Jake, and he was saying, well, this is taking the piss, because really you could reconcile it with DC, because there's literally a story arc called the Forever Evil. They're called basically an otherworld evil Justice League called the Crime Syndicate, and apparently they could have reconciled it with that instead of doing it.
Oh,
and I don't know.
Who gives a shit? What a fuck off. Fuck off. What do you, I mean, Jesus Christ.
What do you mean? These are
Not
laws
you,
important to people. You want to shit on the legacy? Come on, which fan fiction are you really a fan of? Like Star Wars or something?
I love all of it. I love Star Wars. Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love Indiana Jones. I love Marvel. I love DC. But they're stories, you fucking morons. That's what makes them good, is sometimes people die, and guess what? In comics, they all come back. And the idea that you're disrespecting the fucking video game character, I mean, come the fuck on. What? Who gives a shit? I mean, it's Kevin Conroy. If you're saying, no, we're not talking about Batman, Jaffe, we're talking about the actor. It's like, okay, the motherfucker showed up, got a paycheck, and did his job. If he was offended by the script, he wouldn't have read it. Okay, so that was the story they were telling, and you don't have to like it. I respect that. I appreciate that. But it's like, don't act, God damn, get some fucking therapy, because there's something in y'all's brains, not y'all, but some of these people, where it's like, your setting is I have to be mad about something all the time. If I'm not, I'm alone with my thoughts. And if I'm alone with my thoughts, I have to realize that I'm sad and I haven't dealt with the shit I need to deal with. And it sounds like I'm making a joke, but it's true. It's like, go to a quiet place, take some breaths, and go, why do I need so many distractions in my fucking life to care about a fucking incredibly well-off man, even though he's dead now, but everybody's going to die, that made a lot of money being able to do voices of wonderful characters. It's like, shit, sit the fuck down.
Well, it's quite funny. Our chat is a microcosm of the internet at the moment. You got Broken Games HDR. You didn't need to Thanos snap him, considering David Jaffe just said a trillion times more offensive things. But BG says people are crying bitches. And then you've got Kuru saying, please, he says, no, it's the Batman from the Arkham games, you dumbass.
Who gives a shit? He's Batman. It's like fucking, it's not canon. His name, I have a spreadsheet on my wall, and it shows the hierarchy, and it also shows the reporting structure. And if you make sure that the Batman from the Arkham game, shut up. God damn, who gives a shit?
You know, it reminds me of the impression you did that Simpsons episode where these nerds are like interviewing, I think Homer Simpson, because he's doing the Itchy and Scratchy show. He goes, well, can you explain the scene where this guy, Itchy, clearly pressed 3 different strings and the 4 different distinct sounds were heard? How do you explain that? It's literally what you just did.
It's horrible. Horrible.
Kuru, I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm just sitting on the fence like Asa usually does it. But speaking of fence sitting, Asa, what is your take on this? Is Dave Jaffe correct, or is he wrong? He doesn't actually get it. He's just wrong.
I'm still thinking about the
time.
name of the game, because my assumption, I haven't played it. I played the alpha or the beta or whatever, but I didn't think they were going to kill him. Like, I know it's in the name, but I don't expect them to all commit suicide either. Like, the name's the name. You know, I thought they're going to neutralize them or like get rid of the brain control or some nonsense shit like that. So I prefer that they killed them.
What does it mean that they killed them? What does it do?
Batman's not even a person. He's an idea. Just put the cowl on someone else, right?
But what do you But what do you think is going to happen? Let's do this. Let's just do this thought experiment for a moment. Okay. Do you think because Batman dies or some of the Justice League die in Suicide Squad, do you think that Warner Brothers is like, well, guess we can never make a video game with Bat Boys? Take him out of what's their fighting Smash Brothers game coming out again? Take him out. He's dead. Didn't you see Suicide Squad? I mean, it's like, he'll be back in 5 minutes.
Actually, if he's part of the canon and of the Arkham games that are madly beloved, and you've killed him, unless you do some weird, stupid time warpy thing.
Like the Lazarus pools that he always goes in and comes back out of.
And that would be so lame if they do that.
Or Dead Man.
It'd be so lame if you did that. The Lazarus
I
Pool.
thought, and I
it.
could be like, I didn't play to the end of it because nobody played to the end of it, but I thought he died at the start of Gotham Knights. So. Maybe he comes back on that one. I don't know. He got buried. So.
I don't think that's. Is that even part? I don't even follow these different strands and different stories. Well,
yeah, Gotham Knights was set after the Arkham game, same universe, same Batman. He fights what's his face, Ra's al Ghul, and gets exploded and crushed and is dead. So.
Okay.
Keep killing him.
And some of the guys in the chat, you're not really getting it though. Like Jaffe, all respect, says Nikki B fans can absolutely be disappointed. Someone else says the gist, I forgot where it went, but that's, and I'm not saying you can't dislike the story. I'm not saying you can't go, oh yeah, that story wasn't for me. I thought it was really shitty how they did this, that, and the other. I don't think Gaz or I are talking about that kind of response. That's just like I didn't like it. I thought it was a poorly told story. I thought, the Justice League should have done this, that, or the other. But when you guys are actually acting like it's some kind of cause to rally behind, that's, I think, the discourse online Gaz is referring to, where people are really offended by it, and they think there's that's the thing that we're talking about. If you don't like it, I respect that. I mean,
it reminds me of The Last of Us 2 and what they did with Joel a lot. I felt it was a lot of similarities there. Asa,
it's a little different though, because Joel ain't coming back, because that's that kind of a world, right? That's that kind of a game. You may get a Joel prequel, but that's Batman comes back all the time.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Asa, have you played this? Do you have any interest in playing this? You played the demo. You didn't think, the beta, you thought it was shit.
I played the demo, beta, alpha, whatever it was. I didn't entirely think it was shit, but it was not endearing either. And it's really, really difficult to make characters let you connect with them and understand their sense of humor within the space of like half an hour or an hour or whatever I played. But it felt like they swung for Guardians of the Galaxy and got nowhere near it.
Missed.
So it's not like missed badly. Like that same style of sense of humor, but the delivery was just like miss. No, that's annoying. Missed. And it might be that if you play it for longer, like it starts to land a bit more once you know the characters a bit better. But for me, I still don't even know the characters' names, so it's not one that I'm dying to go and spend 70 quid on.
Yeah, I mean, we've got reviews that are pretty middling, and there's quite a similar Stranding. I've got a couple of reviews. I'm just going to quickly read. Power Unlimited says Suicide Squad has so many different faces, which makes me ready for a personality test. One moment I'm enjoying Rocksteady's art design, the next I want to hurt myself because of the excruciating gameplay, then laugh at the voice acting, and then get angry about the boring boss fights. And then you've got someone else, which I had another review just to mix it up, and I've completely fucking deleted it because I'm a piece of shit that can't do. Oh, there it is. Push Square says it's tough not to think about what could have been if Rocksteady opted for another traditional single player title, especially since the split personalities at the game's heart stop it from reaching other heights. And the reason why I brought these two, there's only about 20 reviews, and it's sitting at a 60 meta, and I doubt they'll fluctuate madly, is that the split personality thing is something I've seen across a lot of reviews. Like, this seems to be a very schizophrenic experience where this is kind of almost a sign of troubled development, and that they're trying to reconcile. And I have a friend of mine whose friend works at the studio, and a lot of what he told me internally was kind of lends itself to development troubles and a divide between the higher ups at WB and the people who work there, the developers. So it's like, okay, and he told me all the shit that happens in the story ages ago, like Poison Ivy being a little child or something, like a year ago or something. So it's like that Suicide Squad is going to do pretty wank. It's not going to sell that well. It's another gas game down the toilet, and it's going to be Rocksteady's impeccable record also stained, which means I imagine they'll probably end up going back to what they are known for best, which is their single player games, because this is an industry that doesn't really foster creativity anymore, going to startlingly high development costs and all of that. So that's Suicide Squad. I was going to bring it in later. So just let me see, what is it, 24 minutes. I'm going to read the super chats now because I'm organized and shit. We got Lutron with a $2 super chat. The cult is with you, Jeffy. Yes,
you goddamn right, Lutron. Stand by and stand back.
And we're with you.
Or whatever he said. I don't remember what he said. He's a fucking idiot. Not Lutron.
I was going to be like, whoa, he was a guy at your back.
No. I was quoting Trump, but I forget if he said stay. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Shout out to 517 of you. Hit like button. We got Hoggy Chatty. GameOnDaily's own. Hi, Dad. Remember for 31 months, Xbox officially going third party. Oh, well, PC Master Race for the win. Be interested to see Halo on Nintendo. Oh, and I think PlayStation did something this week. Yes, we're going to get into that, Argy, about what they've actually done and go game by game. We got a 1 pint Johnny with a £5 super chat. Goes, much love, brothers. Much love to you as well, 1 pint Johnny. And Replicant, shout out to you for being a member for as long as it takes to gestate a child. He says Suicide Squad has always been doomed. Latest game cool to hate on by Twitter. Shit heels. Here he is. People do like to bitch. BG, I'd love to get your opinion on it. Actually, you thought the game was shit. Actually, I remember now. Panic is boss with a $5 super chat. I had so much fun in the Suicide Squad game. Finished the game yesterday. I can't wait for the new seasons personally. There you go, chat. Like, there are people who are genuinely enjoying the game. And when I played the thing, I did definitely see elements of it that people could gravitate towards if they were looking at it. Like, I think we talked about this last week. If you approached it from a Crackdown perspective or one of those kind of games, you would enjoy it. And it's got all that gamified little hooks for you with the gas elements that will
the gas conversation is weird to me about this game. I haven't finished it. I'm about 8 hours in, and maybe when you finish the game, I've heard like the post game is a lot of that, but I have felt absolutely zero. I'm playing it like a one and done's. I'm not playing it with co-op or anything. I'm just playing it for the story and the action, and the navigation feels great. And when I hear people call it like a games as a service, I'm like, what do you mean? Because it doesn't feel like a Fortnite game or an Overwatch game, or I don't even know what. Like, I've never been asked for money in this game yet. I don't see any place to pay for power. There's no loot boxes. I mean, what is the game as a service? Just the fact that it's online?
I think it's because the seasons they're going to be set.
Everything okay. I mean, okay, that's fair, but I mean, it doesn't affect the game right now, as far as I can tell. Somebody in the chat says it's server based, so online only is games as a service. Okay, but that's it. Okay, that's fair. But then I think there needs to be a distinction in the language and the way people talk about it. If you're complaining about it needing to be online all the time, and you call that games as a service, and you don't like that, that's cool. But I would agree, wouldn't you, that that's a different definition that other people use when they say, because you were talking about games as a service hooks and all that stuff, and I'm like, that's got nothing to do with it being online all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get this when you finish a level, you get these random gun and stuff, and that's the kind of hook I was alluding to, but not necessarily gassy, but kind of gassy. When you take that into other genres where there's a multiplayer component and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no loot boxes and that. We also found out. Actually, I'm thinking to park this to another side, another topic. Actually,
shit! I'm so sorry, you guys. HBD Films wants everyone to know. He says he's out. This ain't it. Everybody, HBD he's leaving. Everybody.
Fuck!
He's leaving.
What the fuck did we do?
I know. No, I just want everybody to know. It's important that they know that he's leaving. Be well, sir. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
This is not a fucking airport. Don't need to announce your departure, you. Oh, you dickheads. There's so many dickheads in the world.
I know. I hate them all. I like how this ain't it. Well, you're not even a fucking subscribing member of this channel, bitch. So why should it be it for you? Maybe if you ponied up some ducats to these gentlemen, maybe it would become it for you. But instead, no. Fucking
I've got
idiot.
a lot of haters. I've got a lot of haters as well. So it's Shams inevitable. The £2 says my farts are gassy. No doubt. It's just people are weird. I bet you're still there. I bet you still listening. But yeah, so I was going to talk about The Last of Us 3 actually. That's been greenlit, but I think maybe we could talk about it. Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann has announced that he's going to. There's a third chapter in this story. I haven't played the second. I've already bought it, so my boycott, as Asa reminds me, is pointless because I've already bought it. Can't boycott it after the fact, so I might begrudgingly play the Zionist game. But what's your thoughts on Druckmann doing a third Last of Us. Does it feel like he's creatively defunct studio that has released 2 remasters, a remake, and now a third in the series? Or
I don't think Neil Druckmann's creatively defunct. If that's a word, I think is that a word? Defunct? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Defunct. Yeah. Defunct. Yeah. Defected. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The guy's off directing an episode, which was a well-directed episode of the show. It's Emmy nominated. It didn't win, but so fucking what? I mean, oh my God, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill the dog right now. Ace, it's just Neil Druckmann. He's a good guy. Let him in.
Oh,
He's fine.
Did you name your dog after me? That's so sweet.
Yeah. But no, I think, and they have announced they're in production on a single player game that's not Last of Us. But what I would say is, again, this goes back to, and I don't mean to sound like an asshole on this, but I remain stunned, and I don't even think it's because I worked in the business, because I knew this when I was a high school kid wanting to get in the movie business. I remain stunned how gullible so many fans are by what the PR tells them. It's like, of course there's going to be another Last of Us 3. Are you out of your fucking mind? It's of course there's going to be another Uncharted, but Nathan Drake told his wife that he's not going to go adventuring anymore. Oh, well, no matter what, he's not real, you morons. He's a character that they make a lot of money off of, and it's crazy to me. So yes, there's a Last of Us 3 coming because the show is doing coconut crazy business. It's going to be on HBO for a long time. I don't know what last week was. I know Last of Us Part 2 Remastered was the number 3 game in the UK box products, which is the only data we get recently. We don't get the digital data automatically and whatnot, but it's clearly doing well enough. So yeah, there's going to be a new one. So I think when everyone's like, Neil Druckmann announced The Last of Us 3, it's like, really? Do you think? I don't know. It's just so gullible, man. It bugs me. And it doesn't bug me because I'm like, you're an idiot. Not you, but them. It bugs me because I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, I saw a guy today, and incredibly talented, so like fucking amazing artist. He's actually done work with Naughty Dog, and he tweeted out he watched the new documentary on The Last of Us Part 2 called Grounded 2 that they just put out on YouTube. And he says, after watching that, I've made up my mind. I have to work at Naughty Dog. It's my dream and all this shit. And I'm like, you made up your mind to go into an industry. And again, he may love it, and that's great. But it's like, that entire documentary is propaganda. It's got background music, just like Raising Kratos, just like what Microsoft does. It's all PR. It's all manufactured to get you to feel a certain way or act a certain way. And the fact that you would watch that documentary and think that that's reflective of the day-to-day life you're going to have if you go work at any of these companies, I'm sorry, but you need media training or you need media literacy training because you're a fucking idiot. Not that guy, but just, it bothers me.
Gullible. It's gullible. Yeah, people are gullible. And they fall for the idea of things, which we'll talk about shortly. I'm definitely positive about. But yeah, I mean, The Last of Us 3, it does seem like this is going to be, he says it, and again, on the same note of what you told me, don't be gullible, but it feels like he says this could be the final story for him. He conceptually has an idea for it, so it's in very early stages, so God knows when you're going to see it. Probably a while, probably next gen, maybe even. We don't know.
I can see that.
Yeah. Ace, are you excited for The Last of Us 3? You completed the second one.
Yeah, I played through the first and the second. There was nothing about the second one that said they're done with this series, so it's not remotely surprising that there's a third one. The only thing that I guess is a little bit surprising is he's talking as if that's going to conclude anything. I don't think they're going to close off the Last of Us universe in the third game by any stretch, because it does print money. Yeah, of course I want to see what it is. Of course I'll play it again. Had my issues with the second one, but
yeah.
I hear in the third one, though, they did leak that they're doing DLC where you can buy a Lazarus pit and bring Joel back. So,
you never know.
Somebody in the chat said that. That wasn't my joke. But by the way, video 0908, go fuck yourself. He says, oh, great, Jaffe's here. Get ready for 3 hours of whining, crying, and manlet squelling. Squelling.
Squealing.
This guy needs to do the family thing and just become the woman called Karen he actually is. Look, bitch, just the fact that I'm really intelligent and you're not, and I'm really passionate and you are living a very dim existence, that's not my fault. I feel for you.
Channel, I bet you is like a PlayStation fan or something.
I asked these guys before the show started, I said, look, do you want me to read the comments? Do you want me to look at the chat? And they said, yeah, go ahead. This is what you're going to get, fellas. This is what you're going to get.
Yep. I'm not going to stop.
Sorry. The numbers are cratering. Sorry, Gaz.
It's all good.
I can be serious. I'll tell you what, for the Alexa set timer for 10 minutes.
Don't be serious. Please don't be serious. We don't want you to be serious.
For the next 10 minutes, I am going to be the guest that they say they want me to be. 10 minutes. I set the timer. Let's go.
What?
I just want to do it. I want to play the character. Let's go.
All right, fine. There's a $2 super chat from Daddy Passion Official. Goes, Asa, let's play some Tekken 8 tomorrow, which I really need to play. I
hear that game is so good. To play that. It looks so good.
I want it.
I want to play. I'm going to get it. But I want to live stream that and Mortal Kombat because Tekken is my jam. But I haven't played it in a long while. So this week we had finally the starving PlayStation fans got their not showcase State of Play, and State of Play had mixed set of reactions, but generally I would say quite positive. I saw a lot of exaggerated takes. I saw all sorts, but we're gonna go through the games game by game to ascertain whether or not this show is the banger that PlayStation fans are pretending it is, or am I just being a dick? First game, Helldivers was shown off. Helldivers looks really good to me. This is not your typical PlayStation game, so I feel like PlayStation is definitely straining for some good multiplayer games, and this is a exclusive on the console. Helldivers looked really kind of cool. Seems like a game that is probably better off running on PC, because I feel like there was a bit choppy on the PlayStation version, possibly. What did you think of Helldivers? Is this something that you would like, Jaffe?
Oh my God, yes. Sony can do no wrong. They are excellent. Every choice they make is wonderful. I'm very much looking forward to Helldivers 2 coming out on the 8th of February.
Oh, yeah. Nick Marseille will really appreciate that that comment.
Fuck you. Listen, I can't do it. Alexa's cancel timer. Listen, the previews dropped for Helldivers 2 yesterday, and I'm very excited because it's the first I've been excited about it because people say who played it, it's really fucking good. It's really fucking fun. So I still think that it is poorly priced for the success that it needs to have, because I think you're going to want to play it with friends. I'm not people like $40 isn't too, it's like, no, not, you're not, it's not $40, but for a multiplayer centric game where everyone has to pony up $40 and you need 2 or 4 players to get that experience. I think they should have either put, if you buy it, you get 3 demos for 2 hours each you can share with your friends, and if they play it and buy it they get a discount. They should have done something to motivate the kind of behavior they need for this game to be successful. But whether it's worth $40, I'm very happy that it's starting to look like it is. I love that it's a different kind of game from PlayStation. I loved how good Returnal felt on the DualSense, or whatever it's called, DualSense 5, whatever. And so I watch this game and I go, oh my God, if this feels as good as Returnal felt, just holding this thing, and it was a joy to control that game, and it sounds like it's kind of like that. I'm super jazzed for it. I did not, I made a video about the trailer. I think in people, of course, because a lot of them are fucking idiots, they didn't understand what I was saying. They're like, you said Helldivers is shit, and you would like, you would only like it on Game Pass. And I said, no. Yeah, I said, Sony's job is harder now, because when you've got games that from a marketing standpoint don't look all that much different from each other, and some of them are quote free on Game Pass. I understand it's not free, but psychologically it is free. Once you pony it up and it hits your credit card every month, a lot of people don't think about it. Okay, so it's psychologically free for a lot of people. So if you've got a game like Exoprimal or Second Extinction or one of the Back 4 Blood or any of those kind of games that this sort of looks like, and all Sony does to sell it is put out a trailer that just makes it look like those games, then my response is not going to be, oh, fucking day one, bitch. It's going to be,
exactly.
It's going to be, oh, well, I'll have to wait and see, because this, I have stuff like this I can play for quote free on Game Pass. And then it turns out I waited and saw, And the previews are doing the talking. It sounds like the reviews are going to do the talking, and I'm excited for it. But don't come at me because Sony marketing doesn't know how to compete against the marketing of free. It's a hard thing to do. I get it, but don't get mad at me because I called it out.
Yeah, I saw that bit, and exactly what you were saying is spot on. What is so contentious about that point? What is so contentious? You've got a sea of these kind of games, and Exoprimal is a good example, actually, along with your, well, Second Distinction less so, but yeah, Exoprimal, great game, but I would have never even bothered buying that, really, unless I was really in a mood. I downloaded that, played that, and I loved that game. That's when I told my mates, hey, do you want to play it? Me and Colt and others played it, we tried it, and it's this Helldivers does feel like that. I feel like PlayStation guys are putting this on a pedestal because, one, there's a massive, it's anemic there as far as multiplayer is concerned. So there's that. But, you know, it does also look really good to me. So it looks like a solid game. And I'm like, oh, I actually want to play that on Xbox. Asa, Helldivers, do you agree with Jaffe's point? I feel like it's hard to disagree with that one. But also
it's hard to disagree with, but it's also like it's a bit of a shame that the industry can't sustain a game that you sell for money. And it is the case. You're absolutely right. Like you look at the examples that you said, Exoprimal and Second Extinction, and all of these things that you do play on Game Pass. Personally, each of those games I played Back 4 Blood as well. I played it like once, maybe twice, because it's there and you just go and get it, and your friends have all got it, and it's really easy to just jump in and go. I do like community games on a Sunday, and it's always things that are on Game Pass because everyone has them, and you can just say, who wants to play that? And everyone jumps in. It is very difficult at the moment for a game to survive, to be sold for money. But that's weird. It doesn't feel like it should be the way, right? You should be able to make a good game and make some money off of it. So difficult problem to solve, and you're absolutely right. Sony don't necessarily have an answer. Are they publishing Helldivers? Are they publishing it on the PC as well?
They're publishing it, yeah. They're publishing it. This is why people are pretending it's a first party game. But yeah, it looks like it looks really good to me. PlayStation guys, you with your multiplayer phobia, better support this game.
It has my favorite things. It has like extreme weather and friendly fire. These are the things that I want in my multiplayer games. Like, give me a rainstorm, let me shoot my friends.
Yeah,
it's nice to see. I mean, seriously, it is. I mean, it's one of the complaints I've had about Sony, and I know that they're not only a one-trick pony in terms of cinematic, single-player, third-person, blah blah blah, but that is sort of more of where their bread and butter is than other places. And I like seeing them put out games like this, even though, and you know what a real tragedy is, although Sony's never done well, even back when they were ruling the roost with family-friendly stuff, but like Sackboy's Big Adventure is a phenomenal game. It is a wonderful platforming game. It's delightful, and that shat the bed, but it was nice to see them put out something like that as well. Yeah. So I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to buy it and play it this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Does look really good, and I expect it to review pretty decently, like mid 80s, maybe even higher if you're lucky.
Oh, I hear people are, but based on the previews, people are thinking like high 80s, low 90s, but who knows?
Low 90s, I'd be shocked, but mid 80s. BG, what score would you give it, our sage of review scores? Because I get the point, but I also just think the fact that the idea of paying for games is taboo or controversial is insane. This is the only industry where it's controversial to pay for things like this, is basically what he's saying. I don't think
I don't think that's accurate. I think music does it. I think musicians complain about Spotify all the time. And who buys albums and songs anymore? Nobody.
That's a good point, BG. Who does buy albums and songs?
I mean, some people do, but most people don't anymore.
6 out of 10, he says. Shut the fuck up, Blaze, with your 9 out of 10, you serial cocksucker. Anyway, shout out to Blaze. You were on a show with him. He's a homie, brother from another mother.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to you guys? Who did a show with him?
No, you did a show with Blaze.
I don't remember any of these shows I do. I'm so high on cocaine and I don't know anything.
And Ritalin.
Ritalin. Ritalin is cocaine.
I see Mattel's in the chat. I swear to fuck, you have been crying in live chats. I'm only entertaining it because Jaffe introduced it, but stop spamming like a little girl all the time in the chat. It's so annoying, bro. Like, just calm the fuck down. But I will brace that topic, actually, because it was on the docket list, yeah? We don't shy away from topics like this because it's all about
the way you shake it.
Stellar Blade.
I ain't never seen a
ass like
Are you worried about getting copyright hit with these things?
Well, no, we always get copyright for these things every time.
Well, no, they do the thing where they say this doesn't affect your channel. Don't worry about it. But I'm worried about one day where they actually do kind of go, okay, fuck you. And then they go back retroactively and they just ding everybody who's been doing it, including me. And then your channel's dead.
Yeah,
well, fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But what's more important, making money or fucking having a good time? And that's what we do here. That's what we do here. And speaking of a good, speaking of a good time, it's all about Stellar ass. Stellar Blade is making the waves. This is one of the highlights of State of Play. A game that doesn't shy away from showing some buttocks in an era where in the West it's somehow seemingly pandering to Jaffe's favorite company, Sweet Baby Inc., that likes to fucking censor everything and make women look like men. Here comes a game that shows that ass. And
if I had pearls, I'd be clutching them, baby. I would.
I know you wouldn't, but I know you've defended Sweet Baby Inc. You had a video.
I totally defend them, and I also defend Stellar Blade. I love that it looks hot. I love that it's a sexy lady, and I think that's fucking great. And she looks great.
I mean, the game also actually looks. Let's talk about the game before we talk about the art. Okay. Also, obviously, kind of separate.
Stellar Blade has the same problem that Helldivers has for me, which is it looks great, but I think PlayStation fans, because like you said, are dealing with sort of a very shallow harvest at the moment, are putting it on a pedestal that it may ultimately belong on. It may be great, but if you're just going by the trailer is no better or worse, in my opinion, than what was the game that they put out, like Wolong, that launched? Not Black Myth, but the other one that was sort of the
Black Myth Wukong.
No, that one's coming out this year. This is the one that came out mid last year.
You were talking about Wolong Fallen Dynasty?
Yeah. Wolong, it has that flavor. I'm not saying thematically, but it looks like a really good, well-produced, fun action game. Liza P, right? If you're Sony and you have Stellar Blade and that's the trailer that you put out, they have the exact same problem they had with Helldivers. Unless the reviews or previews come out and they go, dude, keep an eye on this. This fucking thing is awesome. I just kind of look at it and go, okay, it looks good, but what did they show that blew your mind? It's just a nice action game. What's the big deal?
I don't think so. For me, this doesn't look like your run-of-the-mill action game. This looks like Bayonetta grown up.
Well, that's a run-of-the-mill action game. I mean, Bayonetta is a... Okay, keep going. Sorry, didn't mean that.
I mean, this is a similar vein to Bayonetta in terms of the way the action goes. And obviously, Bayonetta's crazy, batshit crazy, but also has nudity, so there's that similarity there. But in terms of like the this is coming from a Korean outfit as well, and the Koreans are killing it. I think Koreans were behind Liza P even. This game seems like be oozing excellent character designs, not just the ass. I'm not being a superficial bastard thinking with my penis. I'm genuinely like the aesthetic. Graphically, it looks really beautiful. I've been looking forward to this for a while until actually right at the start, and then for Sony money hatted the shit out of it and grabbed it off. This was shown off at a PlayStation Xbox event, and then boom, they came in and jacked it. And it's a great play by PlayStation, because I think this is going to be. I think this has potential to be really good. I'm hoping it is, and I think.
But again, but I don't disagree with you. But again, that's what drives me nuts about people who don't listen to what I'm saying. I'm looking at your chat right now, and it's like, Jaffe says, Michael, you could say that about every game. It's like, yeah, that's the marketing challenge, is to make me go, ooh, this is different. It looks good, but it could also be just a run-of-the-mill average game-based action game based on what they showed. Yeah. And so I'm sorry, but if you aren't going to if you're so non-discriminant about how you spend your $70, that's okay. But for me, if you are going to put out a trailer and you're not going to plant a flag about why this is unique and special, and it can't be because it's one of the few games PlayStation has, that can't be the reason, then that's a failure of marketing. It doesn't mean the game's not going to be a Game of the Year contender. It may very well be. Yeah. But you guys should hold people who you pay money to a higher standard. and stop being fucking Stockholm Syndrome bootlickers, because I'm sorry, Sony doesn't give a fuck about you. Neither does Microsoft. None of these people do. Take care of your money, take care of yourselves, and ask these people to fucking prove it. It's just a fucking trailer, fellas.
Absolutely.
That's it.
No, absolutely. I'm impressed by the trailer, and the trailer wowed me, and the gameplay wows me, and I feel like you have a good vertical slice, and often we've been fooled. And I'm not going to sit here and vouch for this game unequivocally, because it could end up being rubbish. But when I see the gameplay here, I just think it looks brilliant based on what my expectations are for the game. They're not woefully high. I know I say it could be the next Bayonetta, but Bayonetta, in terms of its gameplay and design,
it's great.
Design, I think it's great, but it's not outlandish.
I loved it.
To replicate its success, I don't think. And everything here that I see, I actually prefer its visual flair. I love that ass, and just love the enemy designs are insane. Even like the
old guy, the character designs are great. There's that old guy that doesn't have a neck, like an AI with doing the typing. And it's awesome. There's some really cool looking stuff in there.
Yes, I'm really hoping this is a really good game, and it feels like it's got everything there to be something special. This is one of the few. This is the thing I talk about PlayStation. Everyone says I'm an anti-PlayStation guy. Fair enough, but these are the kind of games. I know this is not really a first-party game, so it's one they gypped last minute. But this kind of game on PlayStation, when I was watching the state of play and I saw this play, it was reminding me back of the PS2 days that I actually loved PlayStation. Like, if PlayStation keeps releasing these kind of things, I'll be on it. I'm like, all right, okay, now you're finally being weird again. You're finally getting that real identity back. But this is a whatever money hatted game or whatnot. But I think it's going to be good. I'm going to touch on the Sweet Baby Ink and the ass phenomenon in a second. But Asa, what's your take on Stellar Blade? Do you think this is going to be any good? Were you impressed with it?
It has like PlayStation 3 vibes to me, and I don't say that as a bad thing, because a lot of the way that the industry is developed isn't necessarily for the best. So this game, it looks fairly tightly constrained, it looks weird, and maybe it looks fun. But the trailer did say, this is the thing that put me off the most, it pointed out in this trailer as one of the key features of the game that you can sit down to rest and get your health back. And when they said that, I was like, that's not okay. Is that really trailer worthy? Like, do you have a good game here? So, you know, that's
I don't
very
like
particular critique.
Didn't the trailer also reveal, or maybe you knew this, but that it's open world? I was kind of put off by that.
That I don't like, I'll be honest.
Yeah, because it seems like there's going to be these grinding missions and stuff. I thought it was going to be more like Devil May Cry or something, where it was open a little, but it was more of a roller coaster,
Yeah, for this genre, I would have.
But Asa, did you know it was open world before this trailer, or no? Because maybe that was common knowledge.
Not really. It looks really tightly constrained, and I'd be surprised if it is like open world in the way that we know it, just from what we've seen there. But
it's like Nier Automata, like that kind of level design. It looks like to me, and that was quite open. You can go back and forth. So maybe it might be like that. A lot of people are making similarities with that. So we'll see. What's this? So I think there's a bit of substance here, and it's not just me being a perv, okay? And this is good to get divergent thoughts on this. I'm going to put my incel hat on. No, I'm not going to put my incel hat. I don't have an incel hat.
I thought you were wearing your incel hat right now.
Shut the fuck. This is my new...
No. Anyway. I think it's great. It's great. It's a great hat, really, guys.
Fuck you, H.
Wear that.
There's just a lot of raging debate. And actually, I am on one side of this fence, I'll be honest with you, where a lot of Western studios are Sweet Baby inkifying everything. And I will squarely put not just blame on Sweet Baby Ink. These companies, they're just checkbook exercise. Let's just get them on board. A consultant company that will come in and they say, hey, okay, here's our manifesto. You see those tits? Make them smaller. You see that face? Make them a little bit uglier. Make her... add plus 76 ugliness, plus more testosterone, make it more ugly, make it more manly. Generally across the board, look, we had, Spider-Man 2, Mary Jane looks like her fucking jaw could destroy mountains. Then you've got fucking, a Fable. I mean, I'm sorry, man, Fable. The funny thing is, Fable's character looks like a man with long hair.
It's a man, baby.
It is. Dude looks like a lady, and it's the other way around. Lady looks like a dude. But the funny thing is, these people are modeled off actual people. The actual people look way better, way more beautiful, way more feminine, and it feels like we're just it's this mindless pandering. It's not even done cleverly, and I get it. Like, people say that this is just an agenda being pushed across, like a mandate. Like, let's get the brown person here, the black person here, the females here. And it feels like, well, are you actually thinking about the implementation, or is this a checklist exercise? So I don't like Sweet Baby Inc. I think they're just shoehorning to meet their mandate. And I think I look at Stellar Blade, and it's coming from the Far East, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a breath of fresh air, a little bit of skin, yeah, but it's not because I'm a perv. It's because I feel like you couldn't get away with that here in the West. What's your take on that, Jeffrey?
Well, I think people confuse, as always, my take, which is starting to become my fault, I assume, but I don't think so. Look, I like tits and ass. I like violence. If people always ask me, if you were to make God of War again, would you put the sex in? Yeah, of course. I love that stuff. I love, there's a place for it. There's a time for it. And I see no shame in it. I also very much agree that for the longest time, the game industry itself and the products the game industry put out were a white boys club. And I think, is this an overcorrection? Maybe. Maybe it is. Probably it is, in terms of the degree that they will go. But I also think, you know what? If you're a white dude, or you're a dude in general, sit the fuck down. How long did people of color have to be the step and fetch it characters in the movies? How long did the women, could they only be the victims in the movies? And I get it. I understand that now it's being pushed back the other way and you don't like it. It's like, okay, but how many centuries did women and minorities have to deal with being the joke or the victim? So now you guys can't handle it for a couple of years. Yeah, maybe it's an overcorrection, but you know what? You'll live through it. But at the same time, though, I still support the over-the-top TNA stuff. I know women that support that. I think it's an overcorrection, but I think it's a correction that's necessary, and maybe it'll eventually kind of find the sweet spot. But give it, have some fucking compassion. You have Pornhub. It's free for the most part. If you're that hard up, go look at some fucking pornography. You'll survive that Mary Jane doesn't look like, whatever her name, Kirsten Dunst back in her heyday. But you know what? I never hear anybody talking about Black Cat, who was hot as fuck in Spider-Man 2. I guess that's maybe because she had the word black in it. It's okay. I have no idea. Okay. But ultimately, I think most people who are complaining about it, number one, they get it wrong. Sweet Baby Inc. is not in control of anything. They're a consultancy firm, and if you want to blame someone, that's fair if you don't like it, but you don't blame them. They're just cashing the check, man. If
use them.
If Sony doesn't, these people act like Sweet Baby Inc. comes down from their rainbow on high, and they're like, we have made the changes to your game, goodbye. And they're like, hey, we'll take our check. Here's our document we promised you. Here's our PowerPoint we promised you. Go with God, do what you want with it. That's what the relationship is. So if you're mad about it, that's cool, but be mad at the companies that hire these folks. Leave Sweet Baby Inc. alone. They're just doing a job that they can get paid for. No different than what anybody else would do. That's A. And B, give it some time, man. I don't know. I mean, look, you can say, and I believe you because you're a Muslim, but don't you get tired of seeing a lot of Arab folks and Middle Eastern folks for the longest time portrayed as just the terrorists and the bad guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not saying there needs to. Sure, it's changed. It hasn't changed a lot, but it's nice. And people shit on Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is, as far as I know, the first openly practicing Muslim superhero where her faith is integrated into her storytelling, not in a way that's distracting, but it's like, I like that about her. It's different. It's interesting. I like that Ben Grimm, the Thing, had a bar mitzvah. I haven't seen that before. It's interesting. It doesn't take anything away from me, but if it does take away from you, what I'll say is there's probably overcorrection. I will cop to that and give it a little time. It's not like these people who are being represented now, maybe overly represented, haven't had to take the shit for the longest time. Give them a minute to have the fucking, spotlight. It'll fix itself. Or
don't just sit by like a bystander and actually make your voice heard and say this is bullshit, which is what a lot of people are doing, and voice your discontent. Isn't that a valid? You say it's an overcorrect. You could see that it might be. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I think it's an overcorrection when it's a real challenging thing to talk about or to analyze, because an overcorrection for some is a suggestion that the writing is poor and it's an overcorrection. An overcorrection for others who maybe aren't in a world where their life is very filled with diversity or any diversity, it is anything outside of white guy, hero, girl victim, I must rescue, is an overcorrection. And so I think, your mileage is going to vary how you deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, but in my personal opinion, I will say I like the fact that more and more people are calling it out, because its implementation doesn't seem to do favors to the craft. I understand the goodwill behind it and the good intentions behind it, but it's been done in such a disproportionate way that I just don't feel like and I understand the overcorrection. I understand.
But then call that out.
Call what out?
Some people call out the writing, and that makes sense. If you genuinely feel the story suffers because X, Y, and Z that was done in your mind with a mind towards diversity, that's totally fair. Then let's talk about that. But
what about Fable? What about Fable?
Fable I can't speak to, because my understanding is Fable, the earlier Fables, when I was complaining about the look of the character in Fable, people said, no, that's Fable. They're meant to look, they're always kind of meant to look grotesque and kind of like Monty Python is. Okay, then if that's not the case, I think Mary Jane should have looked better if it were me. I looked at the leaked footage of Wolverine, and I certainly don't think we've seen the final design of Jean Grey. But I think Jean Grey, it's like, are you kidding me? I like my superhero sexy. I think that's fun. I think that's part of the appeal. Just like I think if you are a gay man or you are a lesbian, a straight woman, you like your superhero male characters buff and strong, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know. I definitely don't want to see things desexualized, but I think there's a kind of game that makes sense. Superhero games make sense. The Last of Us, okay, I get it.
The Last of Us, fair enough.
But I can
understand. You can have a
what's funny about it is, even if you look at the Last of Us TV show, Hollywood gets it more right than games right now, because if you look at the characters, the actors that they have cast to play Dina, who is not a very traditionally attractive woman in the game, and there's another woman they cast that they just announced, the woman to play Abby.
Oh yeah.
And Abby, and she's a really beautiful actress. But the Abby, when she had the long hair and stuff at the beginning, before she kind of went through all the change and everything with her dad, was kind of cute, but ultimately, though, Hollywood is still hiring good-looking actresses to play these roles. So you're going to have better-looking versions of Dina or Dinah, whatever her name is, in the show than she ever was, at least traditionally good-looking, in the game. So, I mean, I want the games and the content that support that kind of thing to have it. It's just that I think there's a mean-spirited pushback amongst people who, for the longest time, got exactly what they're saying they wanted, which is, I don't want to see all this diversity, or I don't want to, it's bad writing. Okay. And sometimes it is. But it's like, you know what? Don't be such a fucking dick about it. You can complain about the bad writing, and you can say, like, I'm saying, I'd like certain female characters to be a lot hotter in certain kinds of games. But, there's a lot of fucking misogyny out there. There's a lot of racism out there. There's a lot of Islamophobia out there and homophobia out there. It's like, can we not do a little bit of both?
Well, it seems like every other movie and almost every other game is doing it. Almost like it's like everywhere, broad brushing. That's what it feels like to me. It's like
give me an example.
Every other game, like it's go on Sweet Baby's Inks. You got Spider-Man. He's going to just slap it around everywhere, and you might say it's not harming everything. Then you've got fucking.
Well, no, give me a specific example in Spider-Man 2.
I haven't played Spider-Man 2, but I'm just talking about the chin, face, whatever. If you're going to chalk it up to that. That is part of her.
Give me a game you've played. Give me a game you've played where you think that the influence of a company like Sweet Baby Inc. or their philosophy has made the game worse. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious.
I'm a multiplayer centric guy, so it's going to be hard for me to cite single player games like that.
Okay, so what you're complaining about doesn't really bother you.
No, I'm postulating for the argument put forward by.
Oh well, Asa, you must have a problem with it. What game specifically did you dislike that they did that in?
I don't think
Why do you assume that I have a problem with it?
Well, it's a topic on the show. I mean, somebody must have. Okay, well, who? Okay, so
don't know.
there's a guy in your chat,
Do you know what?
MVP,
Like, okay.
saying Suicide Squad is woke. How is Suicide Squad woke? Excalibur says there's a gay side couple mission in Spider-Man 2. So
That
there's
is actually a
tons
really
of
good example, though. So that particular mission in Spider-Man 2, actually, I called that out in the review that I did for it because it's a terrible mission. Not because the couple is gay, but because you are Spider-Man helping university students with their homework and their dating problems while there's crimes happening in the city. So if you're going to look for an example of bad writing, it might be nothing to do with Sweet Baby Inc. Or they might have said you should have more content that celebrates these people or whatever else. So if you are going to pick an example, and I'm not arguing on my own side here, right? This is just
right. Well, can I speak? Go ahead.
And there's that deaf girl spray painting as well, and they made her black as well just to add the chick.
She's a good character.
Yeah.
But you could tell that. I mean, I don't know if the gameplay design is good. I haven't played Spider-Man 2, but that mechanic I saw a lot of people complain about. Like, what's this doing in a Spider-Man game? To this day, I don't know why that would be in a Spider-Man game.
Okay, so let me show you this. Okay, hang on.
It's gonna show us penis. Cancelled.
I don't know what that was. Thanks, baby.
He's going to show us.
Okay, I've been reading, and it's fine, sir. Just leave it. I'll deal with it. I've been reading comics and loving comics since I was a wee lad. Okay, I have tons of them all over here, and I don't even care about collecting. Here's literally is the Infinity Gauntlet #1. It's probably worth some money. I don't fucking know. Okay, so I'm a big comic fan. And the idea that Spider-Man helping somebody with their homework or Spider-Man helping get people a date, that's the essence of the friendly neighborhood part. Now, whether they're gay or not is irrelevant, but part of what Marvel has done great in bringing Marvel games into the mix with all these developers is they're like, let's not make it like the Activision. Remember when Activision had an exclusive with Marvel and it was their X-Men and their Spider-Man, all that shit? All they did was make the action scenes. And Marvel was like, no, what Stan Lee did in the 60s that was so revolutionary is he's like, these aren't cardboard characters. They have real problems. They have real lives. Spider-Man's struggling to pay Aunt May's medical bills. And does he go after the bad guy or does he go on the date? That's the gist. That's the juice of Spider-Man. And the fact that people are saying that's Sweet Baby Inc., that's Sweet Baby Stan Lee, motherfucker. That's sort of what that's about. Whether they're gay or not, if every mission in there was tilted towards you're only rescuing gay people or black people or trans people, cool. Yeah. But out of all the missions, there's one with some gay dudes and that's a problem? Fuck you, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm just playing devil's advocate. If
No, I'm talking to that guy in the chat.
Okay.
The guy who brought up the date thing is some kind of woke thing. It's like, what's woke about it? Guys date and Spider-Man helps people on dates in the comics all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point about hitting that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man vibe. And it depends on the implementation of game. If I was thinking about a game, I can't. But almost every other thing on Netflix, I see that it was like, oh, okay, that's a lesbian. Oh, that's trans. Oh, there's a pronoun thing.
Well, that has to do with what you're watching.
It's almost everything.
Netflix serves you an algorithm and it says, hey, this is what you should be watching.
Things I
don't get a lot of it.
Yeah, I get loads. It's everywhere. I guess it's a sign of the times, but it just feels like anyone I ask or speak about, there seems to be a big, it's not, you might say, Gaz, you have a certain set of friends. I'm in London. I have the most diverse set of friends probably compared to a lot of Americans.
I imagine so.
Yeah, they won't pass that litmus test, but it does feel like, and I'll say this. In fact, a lot of my gay friends would actually complain about this stuff. They and for them it's a lot more personal. They find it like they're pandering really counterintuitive. I was talking to someone in Manchester. He was saying, look, I just hate it. I used to work actually in one of my offices a couple of firms ago. Done some quirk of that office. All the residential property lawyers were gay, who were guys. They vociferously hated that. So they were more like, I got my ideas or hatred of that from them. Because of the way they felt. Do
you hate that Miss Marvel deals with her Muslim faith?
No, I don't. But sometimes.
But a lot of people. But you're Muslim.
She's Pakistani. She's Pakistani.
I don't know. I have no idea. She's Muslim for sure. I don't know what her.
So I'm Pakistani and I'm Muslim. Okay. So it's like, it was good. It was
okay.
Good.
But wait a minute. But there are people who say that's forced.
But I also I feel like some of the bits that I kind of cringe a little bit. Like, look, what we don't want as a brown Muslim guy is we want to be cool, right? But we don't want to lay it on thick, like really thick. Like this is just like you're almost to the point of pandering so much you turn us into a bit of like a caricature in trying to not do that.
Then that's bad writing.
Just like what we're trying to do in reality is we have a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, but we think in a lot of the same ways. And this kind of force feeding this narrative is counterintuitive.
But do you understand why people like me find a little bit of racism in that complaint? Because if the complaint is what you're articulating, then I agree. Then what you're complaining about is a well-intentioned course correction culturally, possibly, but it's poorly implemented. But I don't have a problem with the course correction of putting a Muslim in a story and making that a part of their character. But it's the fact that instead of people saying, I don't like bad writing, they push back on the woke part or the inclusivity part or the diversity part, which makes me go, that's why I don't really buy their argument with the level of faith that I think they think it should be respected at. Because it's like, then let's talk about writing. But you're not talking about writing. You just don't like that there's a deaf girl.
I understand, but there's just like, there's such a wide spectrum of it because it's a visual thing, it's a writing thing, it's also like a narrative point. Like, so it seems such a broad brush thing. It's just like, is there going to be a studio that, like Stellar Blade, I feel like that they get away with it because apparently these guys, they fired or sacked the 2 feminist consultants who were working for them. They were whinging about this thing and they got rid of them apparently. Now, well, I mean, we need to have details on that, but
that story's a little cloudy. But I know
I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna be like, yeah, fuck those guys. But I'm being honest with you.
I was annoyed that, like, I liked Ratchet and Clank a lot, and I was annoyed to hear that Ratchet was not Ratchet. What's her name? Rivet. Was it Rivet? Who's the girl? Mm-hmm. I think it's Rivet. That she was going to be a little bit more curvy and sexualized, and it's like, no. And it's a kid's game, so I get it. But I'm like, no, people get confused. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I love that stuff. And I think Western developers should do that stuff when it serves the material. Absolutely. I think it's ridiculous that they don't. But I think it's also ridiculous the pushback. I just have to say one thing, I'll shut up. Excalibur, go fuck yourself. You're an idiot. He literally in the chat says, Stan Lee did not push this on people. His writing was subtle. You don't know shit if you think Stan Lee's writing was subtle. Stan Lee's writing is as subtle as a constipated bowel movement that finally comes after 2 weeks of pushing and praying. There's nothing subtle about Stan fucking Lee. Or Jack Kirby when it came.
Analogy on the spot. That's fucking.
Well, because I'm just like, come on. Anybody who reads comics and follows Stan Lee knows good and goddamn well he was progressive as fuck, just like Jack Kirby, and he was not subtle about his Stan Lee soapboxes and his characters pontificating about the ills of the world. So shut up.
I don't know. I do.
I know very, very well.
I defer to your knowledge on the comic book stuff. It's an interesting topic, and I'm glad it's good to talk about this because we get to kind of peer through all the noise and the general surface level bullshit and talk. And there's a lot there, but this is a gaming show after all. But I think it's important to have this chat, and it was good to get a range of opinions on it.
Of course, it's fun. It's fun. Absolutely. To me, anyway. I don't know.
No, it is. It is to me as well. Methusiel, thank you so much for the wait a minute, 72 minutes. Thank you for the $3.49. He says, I love by the way, I was watching the show back doing timestamps, and I just want people to know I read the amount of money because sometimes it's like, it makes it sound like, Gaz, are you reading out the money because you're just trying to like spur people on to give more? No, I thought it's out of courtesy. If you guys think it breaks the flow or it just sounds weird when I thank you for the $3.49, I never thought about it. But if you want me to just say read out the super chat, I'll do that because it's just easier in the flow. But I'm not trying to be a dick and trying to play a game or something like that. So Methuselah, thank you for the super chat. I love the first Helldivers. Friendly fire is fun as fuck. I've never played it, so I'm going to. I think it's a game that I really want to play. Gamsley, who's your co-host, Asa, in your new show. Thank you for the $5 Canadian. He goes, best trio. I love the show. Asa, tea or coffee? I know the answer. What is it?
Coffee today, but it's long gone. Long gone.
Yeah. Jaffe's awesome. Xbox Series
Goddamn right.
P. Think about it. Okay, bye. Shout out to Gabsley, man. Shout out to Dub as well with the $10 super chat. He goes, tough topic. I feel like the discourse is always about the diversity and not the writing. Why not rally to get better writing? Absolutely. I definitely agree there are overcorrections, though. I also agree there. I think we all would agree. It's perhaps based on good intentions, but I think the writing is horrendous.
In the games that you haven't played.
And the games I haven't played. Well, I've seen it. This is not a gaming issue. It's more of a Hollywood and every Western media thing. But yeah, no, absolutely. It's not a thing that I cry about all the time. I see this discourse on social media all the time. It's hard to escape as a gamer. Lutron with the $5 super chat. We're about to get the first Jean Grey Logan won't smash. The fuck?
You might get it. I have faith in Insomniac, and I have faith in Brian, the director. I think he knows where the bread is buttered or whatever. I think we'll see sexy time between Logan and Phoenix or whatever she plays.
Okay. Machine XP, thank you, man. For the $10 super chat. Here's the thing: we're hyper focusing on certain media. If you look at all media across 2023, I guarantee you wouldn't see the vast majority being woke. We'll see. Well, okay, perhaps that may be the case, or who knows. Now, back to this state of play. There were a few games, okay? So we talked about Helldivers. We had Stellar Blade, which both look really solid, look really good. Stellar Blade, to me, stands the better chance of actually doing well critically, but you never know. It could be the other way around. There's one game I don't think we see people talk about enough. I personally liked it. It was called Zenless Zone Zero. This game just... again, reminded me of old school, just diversity is what I'm looking for in terms of the same. Again, it's not exclusive, but it's a PlayStation. I guess it's not coming out on Xbox, so in that sense, it's a console exclusive. It was this weird anime mech game. Did you have a look at this, Jaffe?
I looked at it on Keely's show, but I don't remember it from the PlayStation show. I'm looking it up right now to see what it is to remember.
Yeah. It looked really cool. And it's just like that. When I looked at that, I thought you get more of those kind of games in. I'd be really hyper.
What's the gameplay? I see the art style, which I think is very cool. It's very anime.
That's the question I was going to ask. It's like, what is this game? Because it looks very nice. It's very anime mech.
I was watching the trailer and I was fairly excited. I was like, I can't tell if you play as the schoolgirl or the mech, and I love that. And then I realized what game it was, and it's I think it's along the lines of Genshin Impact and that Honkai Rail or whatever it's called, which are mobile
Kuru
games.
Was saying it's a gacha game. If it's a gacha game, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to play those
I lost
games.
interest when I learned that, but
oh really?
It looks cool.
Because the trailer shows off. Yeah, it looks really good. The art style looks good, but if it's like Genshin Impact, I don't really care. Okay. Well,
there's that new RPG that came out this week that was a gacha game, but the RPG apparently isn't. I forget what it's called. A lot of people are playing it though. It looks really, really good. Although I'm going to play Persona 3 first. Yeah, remix or something. It's got a
Relink.
Yeah, it looks really good. But Persona 3 remaster on Xbox Game Pass. Come on, I'm playing that first, of course. But it is cool to see that art style in a game that's not a gacha game. Is my point is that they've said, yeah, we made a gacha game, but now we're making a proper RPG where you level up and there's no microtransactions and all that, which is I'm pretty excited to play that actually.
Yeah. No, I mean,
we're talking about that. Fuck you, asshole.
Justin Woodruff, thank you so much for $5 super chat. Hey guys, work sucks today. Appreciate you getting me through it. And Jaffe, you are the man. You're like the PlayStation fanboys boogeyman. Yeah.
I don't mean to be. I'm an idiot boogeyman. PlayStation people who love PlayStation have no problem with me. People who are fucking children that masquerade as adults are the problem they have with me.
We'll get into the things that actually got you into hot water. Oh, I say hot water. It's not really hot water. It was just a bunch of fanboys on social media crying. Yeah. But one game that didn't look good was Silent Hill 2. This game looked kind of shit, man. I was expecting it's obviously trying to do Resident Evil 2 remake again, but the combat looked really kind of shit. I don't know, man. I would have vouched for it, but I was like, maybe Konami needs to go back to pachinko machines. What do you think of Silent Hill 2? Because I wasn't impressed with it that much. Like, some of the designs were cool, but this looks like a shit game. Jaffe.
Are you asking me or
Jaffe,
who are you asking?
You, Jaffe.
Oh, okay. I don't like the developer. I love one of their games called Layers of Fear. Every other game they've made, I was excited about. The Blair Witch game looked amazing. It was terrible. The Medium looked pretty cool. It wasn't terrible, but it was just kind of sat there. Layers of Fear 2 was terrible. The remix of Layers of Fear they just put out was not great. And so I don't think the Sun's rises and sets over Bloober Team as a horror developer. I would have much rather seen Supermassive or Puppet Combo or the Red Candle games who did Dementia or Devotion, which is one of the best horror games ever made that was banned on everywhere because of China, but you can buy it today. So I think it's a mismatch with the developer because I don't really think they make good horror games. So it already is a strike there. Their online game, Silent Hill, I think it was called Ascension. It was really underwhelming. I watched the first hour and a half episode and I was bored out of my mind. I played Silent Hill, what is it called? The Message or the Short Message or whatever they dropped. The one that just came out, I thought that was really poorly done. So all that thrown into a pot, I have no real faith in Silent Hill 2. I think Konami doesn't really know what the fuck they're doing. They should have brought somebody in that really got it and had a great vision. Maybe Silent Hill, what's the one set in Japan, S or J? Maybe that one will be the one that, turns the worm. But Silent Hill 2, I thought looked fine. I thought there were some good monsters, like you said. I thought there were some good graphics. The presentation was okay. I didn't look at it and go, oh, I thought the combat was bad. I was just like, okay, I'm hitting somebody with a baseball bat. Cool. But I have zero faith in that game right now. They've shown nothing, and nothing but what they've done in the last year with the license from Konami suggests that they're really riding herd over that franchise to really create the next great horror franchise or to bring it back. I think it's not a good sign.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't look that positive. It doesn't look fun to play or control. Asa, what did you think of Silent Hill 2? Well, we being a bit overly pessimistic here.
No, you touched on it there. The sheer number of Silent Hill projects, it's like they're throwing shit at a wall, really, isn't it? But Konami don't really know what they're doing with this. They think they've got an IP of value that people are going to flock to. The combat does look awkward. Maybe that'll just make it scarier because you can't fight effectively. I don't know. Like, you don't want Silent Hill to necessarily be a compelling action game, but maybe you do want it to be that. Like Resident Evil 4 pulls that kind of combination off really well. Silent Hill, I just can't see it doing well. And I don't know what Konami are playing at or what they're going to do next.
Yeah. They had this. They invested in this huge, massive, mega studio, like this building. They were going to take gaming seriously, and then I feel like a fear that they'll go back to pachinko machines very soon if they carry on in the beginning with trying to capitalize on nostalgia with Silent Hill and then falling flat. Hey, Bloober Team, it's all on you to prove us wrong. So we may be overly pessimistic without playing it, but don't. I
mean, they've made their reputation. That's on them. If they come back, great. But don't blame us for not loving your last 5 games because they weren't great.
Yeah, fair enough. Flank Sinatra says, thank you for the $7 super chat. Goes, bros are sus, Gabe, and imposter. Lol. Gabe Newell, you're Gabe Newell imposter? That makes no sense.
You paid for that? You paid to have him say that?
He paid to say that.
I'm a Gabe Newell imposter. I think because I have the beard. I see. Oh, Flank Sinatra. The best thing about you is your name. Work harder. Try better, sir. That's $6. That could buy you a cheeseburger or something, man.
Hey, man, it brought us happess.
It did. Thank you, Flank Sinatra. I love his name, though.
His name is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good.
We've got there's quite a few here but I don't want to. I'll pander to you, Asa. Metro Awakening VR. Now, this is a VR game that actually looked really good. I'm not gonna lie. Is this because they showed this and then they showed another VR game?
The second was terrible looking.
Yeah, what was like some avowed but crappy version?
It looked like Kingsfield VR.
I
Terrible.
don't know what the fuck was this, but Metro Awakening VR. But bloody, what's his name? Special Nick basically leaked the entire show, and he talked about this. Asa, what did you think of this? Because I think this looks amazing. Is it actually going to be as good as it looks? Because on VR, it never is as crisp as that looks.
It looks gorgeous, and it's got the same issue as every VR game in that the audience for it is tiny. So you have to wonder like how far they can stretch what is going to be a very limited budget. It looks good enough to show on a screen in a showcase and not have people go, wow, that's ugly. Whereas the second game, the Legendary Tales one that you were just talking about, it wasn't very fair to put it right after this because the contrast was fairly stark. That might be a pretty fun game. Like I like punching skeletons and throwing them through tables. I like the physics-based combat. It's doing that stuff. And it's co-op, so it might actually be a good game. But to put it side by side with this, it was an unfavourable contrast. This looks gorgeous, and it's probably going to be at most the same kind of length as Horizon Call of the Mountain. So it's probably going to be received in a similar vein, I would think, even if it is really good.
Okay. How long was that game?
Like 8 hours.
That's decent VR romp, I would say.
But it's a decent VR romp, but it was a Horizon game, right? And a Horizon game is like 80 hours. So people were quite harsh on it for that reason.
Okay. Oh, how much time do you want to spend in VR? Oh, not you.
I only play on Apple Vision Pro now, so if it's not on that, fuck you. Have you seen some of the videos that came out yesterday? They're great. I mean, some of them are exciting. Like I'm like, oh, I really want one of these. And some of them, like, I don't know if you guys saw that guy walking across the crosswalk, and I'm just like, I get it. And
piece of shit.
And we are going there. We are going to be there. Yeah. But we're not there yet with that.
He stopped this stuck and he's like,
yeah. Come on, I did see a woman cooking with it though, which was really, really cool. I don't know if you saw that one, where she was following a recipe. She went to her refrigerator and the Vision Pro identified ingredients, and then she got them out and it told her how to cook. And this was the coolest thing because it was so gamey, is that she was cooking pasta in one pot and then she was cooking some kind of beef for the pasta in the other pot, and they both had different timers they had to have, like 6 minutes for this, 12 minutes for that. And so the Vision Pro, basically it looks like you're playing like Zelda Breath of the Wild when you're cooking, but it put like a little timer above each pot, and you just look at it and there's like a timer over it, and there's like a health bar, and it's like showing how long till you have to take it out and put it in the strainer and stuff. And I'm just like, I mean, it is absolutely the future of just our world. But I think until they get it in glasses like you're wearing, like the guy on the street, man, it's like, dude, dude. Apple should have hired, and again, I'm saying this as a fat guy. I'm not fat shaming anybody, but if Apple should have hired really attractive people to walk around, I don't think that was an Apple plant or anything, but if they want to sell that vision, get some really attractive people to walk around the real world with them, and then maybe. But this guy was like big dude, geeky looking dude walking around. It's like, dude, come on.
It was funny. It was funny to see. But I love the fact that tech is coming in. AI is definitely the future. And I would definitely use that all the time because I'm tired of using these things. I'm so tired of holding these things. So I'll be all the more for it. More control. The government watches us and we give away our civil liberties by giving them an access to our lives.
That's not why we give away our civil liberties. We give away our civil liberties because we vote in people. Well, we vote in people who basically are afraid to lose their jobs, and we vote cult personalities, and we don't actually pay attention because we're too busy, because most societies don't give us social safety nets, so we can't really afford to pay attention and educate ourselves, and so we just hope for the best because we have to put fucking food on the table. We're fucked, but a revolution's coming.
Absolutely it is. Oh, you think that as well? That's nice.
I mean, it's coming. I hope it doesn't have to be bloody, but
it will be bloody.
I hope it doesn't have to be, but I mean, it already is in some places, obviously. But yeah, no, it's not. This is, forget Game Pass being not sustainable. This is not sustainable. I mean, this is cruelty amplified at a level that I don't know anyone's seen, except, the big pivot moments in history, like Holocaust, Civil War, World War II, obviously, and stuff like that. So I think we're getting there, unfortunately.
I hope so.
Well, I hope so for the outcome.
Yeah, for the
I don't
outcome.
hope. Yeah.
Yeah, not for the sake of the catharsis and sense of vengeance, but something needs to change if we're going to not fail as a species. Speaking of blood, Rise of the Ronin. Actually got mixed impressions. Visually, this game does not look that great. It looks a bit sketchy. But if you played their games, Koei Tecmo's game, you play Team Ninja Stories games, and you played Wolong, and you like those kind of games, you're gonna love this. And I really think this is a great looking, like not great looking game, but it looks like the gameplay is good. I looked at this and I thought, fucking Microsoft, you got Wolong, which is a great game, but you got it on Game Pass day one, didn't even get exclusive. Here comes Sony that gets the better game. I'm sure there was a bidding war for this, but they got it exclusive, and I think it'll be a better game than Wolong. The game looks really good to me. It mixes a lot of bits of Sekiro and all of that with a rope slinging and all of that shit. A bit of Ghosts, people compare it to, and a bit of Assassin's Creed all mixed in one.
Tenchu, baby. That's got some Tenchu in the DNA.
Shit.
I'm excited for it. And I'm excited because it's these are the Ninja Gaiden guys, right?
Yeah.
But I hear they're going to have, because look, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, as I've gotten older, there are certain games I'm glad when there's an easy mode. Or a medium mode. Like if this was as hard as Wolong, I'd be like, it looks great, but it's not for me. I can't play games that hard, really. I can do the From Software ones, but that's my limit, Yeah. And so I'm quite excited that there's going to be a very difficulty, and everything I saw looked great. I think it's a really cool game. I'm excited for it. I'm surprised Sony fought as hard for it since they have Tsushima. I wonder if the Tsushima guys are like, what the fuck, bitch? Because it kind of, in a lot of ways, it kind of feels like, remember Days Gone and Last of Us? And it's like, why do you have two zombie games?
Yeah.
Or Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper. It's like, why are you putting all these mascot games out? But that said, though, I think it looks great. And it's a great get for them. But of course, you got to pay $70 for it. I mean, again, Sony, it better be great. Because if it's not great, I don't, again, people, you can get mad all you want about that. But I don't get it. Why would you, if let's say this is 2% better than Wolong and you have access to Game Pass, why the fuck would you buy this game unless you're just hard up to play a game?
That's a good point. I was actually thinking that as you were saying that, I didn't consider the price point of it. And Wolong, I nearly 100% completed it. But at the same time, even though I didn't pay a penny for it, it was my most played game in terms of hours spent of last year. So I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to spend the same kind of time in this game and it looks like a better Wolong, I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying that it's another game that paints that idea of like they have to try harder is what I would say.
And you're right, because in my head I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't actually pay for Wolong, and this is going to be the same. And I'm actually going to be paying full price for this. So it's the same kind of
The other thing that's really weird, because somebody in the chat's pointing it out as it relates to Rise of the Ronin. But next week they're putting out Helldivers on the same day that they're putting out Foam Stars, and both of those are multiplayer centric titles. And then it sounds like am I right in reading that Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out on the same day as Ronin? And it's like, fellas, don't
what the fuck you do?
Be fucking morons. What are you doing? Foam Stars is exclusive. Helldivers is exclusive. It's not the end of the quarter. It's not like you have to put it out. It's March 31st. You're good. You got to at least give us a few weeks. But I don't get why they're doing that.
You're talking to the developers, publishers?
I'm talking to Sony. I'm talking to the publishers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why are you making that choice? I mean, it's a Sony choice because they're exclusives. So I don't know why they're doing that.
I don't get that. Dragon's Dogma is going to be a very hard one to overcome.
I'm super excited for that.
Never played a Dragon's Dogma game, and I guess
me neither.
Time to talk about it.
But people have talked to me and told me about what do they call them? The avatars or the little guys you trained. The pawns, right? I think that's such a cool thing. And then apparently I can make them and then you can use mine or I can use yours to go on adventures with and shit. I'm super into this. It looks really cool.
I don't even know about that, but the way Asa, you described it last week was about the fact that there could be so many, not like story-based variations, but in-game variations based
dynamic
on what you do.
Emergent events, and things based on how you make your character, like it really plays on, like, if you make a big guy, you can't fit certain places, you're just going to have to approach that entire scenario completely differently and things like that. That was in the first game. The pawns are cool because the system of sharing them, you were saying they go out on adventures, but they go out on adventures and they learn and stuff. So when they come back on your adventures, they can tell you a bit about what's going on if you don't know. There's quite an in-depth system already. So to see how they're building on this one, like, this game looks really freaking good to me. I cannot wait for Dragon's Dogma. So I don't know if Rise of the Ronin is going to get time from me for quite a while because of that release date. So it is I'm
going to wait. People in the chat are saying it's 30 locked on console, but now that I have, once it comes to GeForce, I don't know when it's coming to GeForce, but I'm playing it on PC now because I have the best PC in the world, which costs me nothing other than $19 a month. So
this
GeForce is the shit.
What did you? So Acer's really singing his praises, and that alone is enough for me to
the game Dragon's Dogma 2 or GeForce.
Your experience with GeForce.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. It is. I mean, again, your mileage will vary based on your internet, and more importantly, based on how close you are to the server farms. But, and they're about. And I know in the UK they've already launched their day pass. In America, they're going to be doing it soon. But you can, if I'm playing at the highest tier, which is $100 every 6 months or $20 a month. And it is so cool. It is like having a brand new console. It is the best. If I'm not even a graphics kind of guy, but it's so much fun to play these games now and not worry about running out of memory, or I have to lower the textures so I can run at a good frame rate. It just fucking is smooth. It looks beautiful, and you can play it anywhere. I'm sitting on the couch the other night, literally playing on a MacBook. Well, no, that was actually Xbox xCloud. I was playing Power World on a MacBook in the living room while the family was watching TV, and it was just seamless. I mean, this is, you can love or hate Xbox all you want, but you see Sony getting on board with what the CEO said a couple of weeks ago of Sony. This being able to play anything anywhere is just, it sounds so unsexy, and it is, but when you do it and it just works, when it's taken away, it you notice it. Like I was playing, I own Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah.
And it's on GeForce as Warzone. And I'm like, oh, but I own Call of Duty, so I can play it. And it's like, well, no, you have to buy it on Steam if you want it for and I'm just like, fuck you, Activision. Fuck you, Sony. It's like, I bought the game. Let me play it wherever the fuck I want to play it. And when you've had that experience and you can stream it or you can play it natively, the idea that you're going to go back and say, oh, I have to double dip so I can play, fuck you. It's just old school thinking, man. I'm grateful Xbox pushed that narrative because it's taking hold. But the point is, GeForce, though, it's the shit, man. It's so worth your time. Just even for a month, get it for a month and play with it. I'm
going to try it, man. I've been saying meaning to try. You don't, the input latency, you don't think it's that big a problem?
I don't get it at all. Now, I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's never been noticeable, but it's never been noticeable enough for me to go, I don't want to play this. Like every game I play on that, I forget. Like I even stream. I was playing Enshrouded on it, which is a great game, and I was streaming the game to me. And then I was streaming my gameplay session live, and people were like, wait, you're streaming this? Like, they couldn't even tell.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, if you live in like a bad part of the world with bad internet, sure. But, you know.
Yeah, no, I definitely need to try this. I never need to try that. That's fucking crazy. So, one of the other highlights of this, of the showcase, or not showcase, State of Play, was... well, probably the biggest one, actually. The biggest is Dead Stranding 2. Dead Stranding 2 wowed and jaws dropped, including mine. And I haven't even played the first game because me and Acer once went to a games convention, waited in a queue for an hour to see what this game is going to be about, because this is one of the shorter queues, but it's still like an hour. We sat down, looked at what Dead Stranding was about, and like, this is kind of shit. I kind of walked off before the thing ended, and the reviews came out, and it looked like a delivery simulator game, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be good. And then for ages, I've heard it from so many people. Again, it's very Marmite. It's shit game, got bored of it, spent 6 hours trying it, it's crap, to no, Gaz, play it. The music, you'll love it. The world is amazing, and that's coming from someone like Colt Eastwood. And he's saying just play this game. Like a lot of people are saying it, and this trailer was so fucking weird. I'm telling you, Kojima takes LSD through his ass to come up with some of this shit. There's a weird doll. I don't know what the fuck is going on in this trailer. What is
Where
going
else
on?
do you take it?
Well, we'll have that conversation after this.
Yeah, I thought that's
show.
okay. Yeah, let me know.
But it looks fucking crazy, and I really, really want to play the first game. I need to get rid of my backlog because of this new rule. Look at the scene right now. There's a freaking pair of hands as a mask covering her face. There's this woman covered in black bukkake. You've got this guy pulling some weird stuff on his needles. Then a ventriloquist doll comes out. There's a that's weird baby's got just burps a freaking mech flying spaceship from its mouth inside someone's abdomen or something, and everyone is now a Smurf. Everyone is blue. What the fuck is going? There's so much madness, and I'm so intrigued to play this game. But one of the things I will just say before I pass it on to you, gents, is the visual flair. A lot of people, I saw the console war, said, this is the best looking game, and I understand that. I still think Hellblade kind of looks incredible, but one of the things that astounded me were the environments in this game. Visually, it looks really, really good. So PlayStation seems like to have a really good game on its hands. I will be the judge after playing the first game, but what are your thoughts? Jaffe, have you played the first game?
Yeah.
Do you think this is a good game? Are you interested in playing it?
Look, I think the trailer was fantastic as a trailer of cutscenes. The cutscenes were really, really cool. But if you just base it on that, the trailer for Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch was really, really cool, but the actual movie wasn't very good. So, weird stream of consciousness trailers are very cool in trailer form, whether or not they wear out their welcome and become self-indulgent and obnoxious, or they really become the next 2001, the proof will be in the pudding. As for the game, of course, I thought the trailer was filled with interesting sights and sounds and ideas that I thought were quite compelling. And I was happy to hear Kojima say that, he's going to work on a new, more action-oriented stealth espionage thing for Sony.
Metal Gear.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But Death Stranding, didn't hate. I very much liked what I played, which was about 4 to 6 hours, but I had the exact same response to that I had to Blade Runner 2048, which is I never finished Blade Runner 2048. I really liked it. I really appreciated it.
2049, you mean the movie?
Whatever, the Harrison Ford one, yeah. With they're both the Harrison Ford, you idiot. With Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford. Was it Ryan Gosling?
That? You haven't finished watching
No, and it's not that I didn't like it. I just was like, I get it. I like it. I like the ambiance, but I'm not that compelled to stick with it, right?
What?
I'm just saying, so Death Stranding to me was the same, which is I liked it. I didn't think it was a dumb walking simulator. I mean, it's very interesting. The strategy and the gameplay of figuring out how to get where you want to get. It's compelling. It engages you. But after about 4 or 5 hours of it, I was like, I think I get this. Like, I unlocked some vehicles, and the story was really well told, and the cutscenes were really compelling. And I hate cutscenes, but they were really good. But after there's so many other things to play that I couldn't give myself over to something like this. And that's certainly a me issue. I get it if you have more of a patience for that. I can see it being brilliant, but I don't have the patience for it. But I did like what I played, and I will be trying this one as well. And I'll probably go back to the first one now that I know the second one's coming out. I'm going to play it.
So I'm still shell shocked that you didn't finish Blade Runner.
I didn't not like it. I kind of was like, I wasn't tied into the plot so much that I cared what happened. I liked being in the world. I liked the characters, but it was long and it was slow, and I had other things to do.
Do it again, please. Just have an edible and watch it, and then then call me.
Okay.
Because I think you'll love it. In the right frame of mind, I think I'll be shocked you won't like it.
I don't agree with Don in the chat that says Dune is equally trash. You go to hell, you fucking motherfucker.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, Dune is a terrible plot, but it's a great book and a great series. And I've loved Lynch's Dune, and I love the new Dune that came out. But when you really do think about the plot of Dune, nothing really happens. It's like he goes to the planet, he gets lost in the desert, he becomes Muad'Dib, and then they have one single attack on the Emperor's thing, and it's over. And it's like, what? But it's still great. Great book. Great fucking book.
Yeah, but even without that movie
love the movie.
Introduced me the movie introduced me to the book. I bought the whole special edition collections now, but I dare not read the book past where the movie ends, because I like the movie's rendition of the Bene Gesserit more than the book. But yeah, sorry, we're going on a divergent there.
But it does makes it seem like it's Lord of the Rings, where there's this big thing that's coming, and it's like, unless he just adds a bunch of his own shit to the screenplay. It's like there's not a lot that happens in that movie, but we'll see. Yeah. But I loved it. Loved it.
I think the second one's going to be incredible as well. Can't wait. I'm just refreshing Odeon Cinema. Let me buy the ticket. VIP Leicester Square. I want it day one. But yeah, Death Stranding 2. Like, Asa, what do you think about Death Stranding 2's? Are you going to actually buy it? You didn't play the first game, did you?
I did. I didn't finish the first game. I went and played it, and then we had a guest here that spoiled the first like 8-10 hours of it. Because that's the start of the game as Death Stranding goes. So they just thought they'd give some plot points. But Death Stranding, with the way that it's paced, that killed it for me. I couldn't carry on because you need those beats because you've just been walking around for ages. So it's like, that's kind of ruined now. But this trailer and the music in it and so much about it is so compelling that I probably will go back and try the first one in the near future. In fact, Darge bought it for me, so I have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely need to.
The trailer, like, because it's so self-indulgent, though, it did towards the end when they start shooting lightning from a guitar, it did lose me a little bit. Like, then you start to think, but it's like the tone suddenly shifts to pompous and silly at that point. So I don't know. It's a risk in that sense, but.
But Kojima, you always have that risk. With Kojima, it doesn't even shock me when he does stuff like that. I saw that as like very Mad Max, but Kojima trying to be weird. PG says,
go ahead.
No one completed it because it's boring as hell. But yeah,
what I think is fascinating about Death Stranding 2 and The Last of Us Part 3 is that, there's a lot of discussion and debate about why the second Last of Us Part 2 didn't sell as well. And people's, it hasn't been out for, but it's clear it didn't deliver at the level that the first one did. And is it because the leaks? Is it because of what happened with Joel? Is it because it was too, quote, woke? Everybody's got an opinion and nobody really fucking has the data to know. I think when I think about Last of Us 3 and I go, are they going to take any of that into account? Are they going to go, okay, we either need to make it, quote, less woke, or we need to do things that are a little bit more audience friendly and less about one person's vision? And I similarly look at Death Stranding 2 and I say, Kojima and Sony, from a sales standpoint, it sold fine. It made its money back. I know it made a profit because I asked somebody over there, but it wasn't the big, it's a very expensive art house game is really kind of what it is. And I wonder if Death Stranding 2 is going to kind of go, just like Last of Us 3, they may have to kind of go, maybe we should pick up the pace a little bit and, still keep it Kojima, still keep it weird. But I don't think it's a mistake that when Herman Hulse talked to Kojima about his second game that he's making with Sony, the first word he used in describing it was action.
Action, yeah.
I mean, that's what he said, So I hope Death Stranding 2 does actually get a little bit more juice into its pacing because I think it's a cool world and I want to be in it. But I'm with Asa. It's the pacing of that game is it takes a commitment.
It does. Like, it's one of those, like, when people say we have to watch 500 episodes of One Piece and it'll be fun. I'll be like,
right.
But I'm willing to withstand. I feel like I will get sucked into the world and the ambiance if the music is right. Music is so fundamentally important in games like this for me to withstand it. And music is so much in games and everything in movies. So that's interesting. It's interesting. Isn't the Kojima's new game is Bro, I watched this and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is the bot in me. I was like, here we go, Kojima goes, it's going to be the sum total of all my experiences. I'm going to make a fucking espionage game. It's going to be action heavy. I'm like, all right, so this is your piece de resistance, and it's on PlayStation, you dick. And then we get this art house game that has a movie thing with whatever it's called on Xbox. I even forget the name now. Ozone, or what the hell was it called? Overdrive, OD, yeah, that's it. Overdose, that's it, Overdose. And I'm just like, it's far away. God is gonna, it's gonna be fun. He can't juggle all these projects at once, and you're gonna get it in PS6 days. No chance we're gonna get the end of PS5. I guarantee you that. But like, what the fuck? Like, I saw that. I was like, damn it, man! Microsoft was desperate at the time. If he spat in your mouth, you would accept it, and I wouldn't even blame you. But I feel like Sony's gonna get Kojima's swan song game, because how many more years he's going to be game developing? He's got enough money as it is. He's going to be fucking just having some hoes and just chilling. Like, he doesn't need to work. So yeah, I think Sony's going to have a good game with Fizzin', but I need to play Death Stranding because MGS5 was overrated as fuck. Now, those are the big games that we talked about. And in 109 minutes, I want to talk to you, Jaffe. Jaffe, talk to us, please.
What about?
The PlayStation community is not happy with you. You doing, and I agree with you, doing this whole showcase, Blaze, BG agrees, Blaze just likes to, so Blaze, explain to me, how is there no first party, like hardly any... for years, Xbox fans have been hearing about the prowess of first parties. This is how you assess the quality of a platform, and yet there was not one big first party game. And I was shocked. Not shocked. I was surprised at how. Well, not surprised at all. Actually, that's a lie. Because I know so many people on the internet are fucking fake as fuck. They're like, oh yeah, Celebrate. This is great. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Are you on crack? David Jaffe told the truth.
Oh, you're having a laugh.
I'm not having a laugh.
No, I know. You sound like Ricky Gervais when you said that. So
because Jaffe was saying this. You said, and I quote, I love Sony, but this generation, they are shitting the bed. Sorry, they're shitting the bed. And you also said, and I quote, I'm so tired at this leadership at Sony.
Yes.
So what is it that's causing you to say that they are shitting the bed?
Well, I think part of it is frustration. I mean, again, I don't have an allegiance to companies. I worked at Sony, and some of the people that I worked with I still have great affection for, still there. Not many, but some.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really factor into it. To me, I think it's kind of like watching Apple. Now, I used to be a total Apple head, and Jobs died and Tim Cook came in, and he's certainly running things efficiently and financially lucratively. But other than this new thing, we'll see how it does and see how it affects people. The magic is kind of gone, Yeah. And when you look at other companies, whatever you want to say about how evil or stupid Mark Zuckerberg is, are you saying that that's going to be a clip? Is that what you're saying? But when you watch Meta, even if a lot of his stuff comes or doesn't come to fruition, when he was on the stage this year at Meta, he was like talking about the Ray-Bans that you can now stream from, and he was talking about the actually affordable Meta Quest 3 that does pretty good AR and all this shit. Xbox, to me, this generation, and people are like, oh yeah, Jeffy, they're not winning, they're in last place. It's like, dude, I don't care. I've evolved beyond caring about sales numbers. Do you understand? I'm a very wise creature on the planet. I'm an old soul. I understand, but I also understand that there was a time when Pepsi sold more than Coke. There was a time where Apple did not sell as many as Windows. That may still be the case. But I mean, the worm turns. There was a time when GameCube couldn't get arrested, and then a year later they had the DS, and then a year after that they had the Wii, and they suddenly were printing money just by being who they were. So I'm not blind to the fact that right now Sony is getting by in the number one position. Part is that they have a great product. I think the PS5 is a great piece of hardware. It's dependable. The controller's phenomenal. It's got great support, great third party. But things change, and if you look at Xbox, whether they're going to succeed or not as a console and or a service with Game Pass, or they're just going to go out of business, or they're going to go with third party. Xbox right now is the most exciting console company in terms of what they're trying, and I don't think that has to be Sony hate. The only way you would hate that talking point is if you really give a shit who wins a fucking console war. And at that point, I would say, hey, check the time because your mommy's probably calling you in and it's lunch, and she's got your peanut butter sandwich with the crust cut off, and she's got some fucking little potato chips ready to go in your juice box because you're a fucking child. Okay, because Xbox is trying shit, and people will say, well, that's because they're in last place. Who gives a shit? Maybe they're desperate and they had to. I don't give a shit what motivates somebody to innovate. You know, people say that, what is it? Desperation is the mother of invention, or that's not the way to innovate, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, a lot of times hard times bring about the best ideas, but they're doing some sexy, interesting stuff at Xbox. They're trying things. And, I can't help but look at Sony in comparison and just go, you guys feel like you're run by a bunch of old dudes who basically came of age in the brick and mortar business, and you're still thinking games are things you put in boxes, and you're not aware of the Power Worlds, the Lethal Companies, the Phasmophobias, the Robloxes, the Fortnite creative engine stuff they're doing. And it's like, things have changed. Sony, you laid the groundwork, man. You made games cool. You did it. Wonderful. But things have changed, and you need some vision there that is still embracing what you guys do great. Because they do a lot of things that are great. Only their first party games production wise are much better than Microsoft's first party games production wise. Sony would have never shit or shipped Redfall. They would have canceled it before they put that out.
No chance.
But so keep that, Sony, but get some fucking juice, bitch. Get some of that energy.
Where's the fucking
in the games and in the way they sell their business and the way they think of games? They just seem really antiquated and tired. And I'll tell you what, if I was still in the business, I would much rather work for third place Microsoft than first place Sony. Because first place Sony seems like a relic at this point. Yeah. But that's not me hating on Sony. That's me just going, hey, there's what it's what I think about. Where is he at? He's in Blizzard now. I don't know where he is now. He was at Blizzard. Now he's at he's at Coalition. Now he's at Blizzard, and put in charge of Xbox. Production teams. They got problems at Xbox still, but they're doing some neat shit, man. How can you not be excited about that?
Yeah. Chat. You can clip that all you want. I know the ponies will be watching it. I will just say facts. This is absolute fact. PlayStation has been, and Nick must say, I know you're watching this and you're fucking just choking your chicken or something, because you are incensed by what Jaffe's saying, but what he said is absolutely spot on. You're going to point at VR, no one gives a shit, not a Call of the Mountain. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about games that take a risk, and Jaffy said it better. He'd rather be third place Microsoft, working for third place Xbox, than first place Sony, and I completely understand that. Asa, do you echo David Jaffe's sentiments? Do you believe that PlayStation is playing it too safe with this big blockbuster formula that has served them so well, and at the cost of true creativity that we loved them for originally?
I think it's a fairly commonly shared sentiment that people want PlayStation to make smaller, weirder games again. And people don't necessarily say smaller, but that's kind of necessary if you want to see them taking risks. They're a victim of their own production value and their own budgets. So everything has to be like rounded off and made very safe before they can push it out there. Yeah, of course I want to see them go back. I don't necessarily want them to see I don't necessarily want them to follow in Microsoft's footsteps. Microsoft are really well positioned with their different, their various revenue models and how they can make money and how they can deliver games. And there's obvious strengths to it, but I don't need Sony and Microsoft to be the same company. I don't mind what direction they take it. And And you couldn't say that Sony are doing badly at the moment at the same time, right?
No.
They're getting their money and they're selling their consoles. They're keeping most of their fans very happy. Yeah, I would like to see them find a way to make a game like Helldivers a thing they can really sell, so that they can make more stuff on that kind of scope and scale. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a fair point. I think a lot of people. I'm glad. I'm deferring to you, both gents, not
It's
me,
difficult,
to say this point.
because there was like recently there was a whole lot of stuff that Sony was supposedly talking about. It came out of I think the Insomniac leaks, where they were saying, well, we could make like 3 games for half the budget of this one or whatever, and maybe we should do that. And it's interesting because that's that's always been true, but the market has led them in the opposite direction. So they've always been able to make more smaller games, but there's been data-driven reasons why they haven't done that up to this point. And I don't know if the market has changed enough for it to make sense. And something like Helldivers is a really good kind of litmus test on that, to see how well they can sell a smaller game. But that's why I kind of hope the market can sustain that kind of thing.
I hope so too, and I think you can. I think the audience, palette is changing, and Power Worlds is just one example of that.
You got these guys in the chat like Ben, who's like, it's like, what did I just say, Ben? What did I just fucking say? It's like, well, they're number one. They're selling more. I'm like, I know they are, fellas. You can't if you're going to use that as your bat to hit me with, in my opinion with, then you have to basically buttress it up with the concept that number one people always stay number one and they never fall. Okay, I was there at Sony when PlayStation 2 ruled the roost, and then I was there when Kazurai stood on stage and said $7.99 or $6.99, and Kutaragi said, go get a second job to buy the PS3 because it's an emotion engine. So things change, and if you get complacent in the first place, which I think Sony is, then you run the risk of what befell them with PS3. YJT says, what is Xbox doing exactly besides buying up the industry and subservice that most people are sick and tired of? Most people are not sick and tired of the subservices. You don't even, this idea that you guys are bringing about this, like, well, it's plateaued. Game Pass may never get off the ground beyond where it's at. And if it doesn't, that's too bad, because I think it's a great service. But maybe it won't. But you cannot write the obituary or the celebration speech for Game Pass until, and maybe they never will because their management's not as good as PlayStation's, until they start pumping out the titles from the studios that they've bought at the cadence that they have claimed they're going to do. Now, if they can't do it, that's fine. Fuck them. They failed. But if it turns out they can, and suddenly you start getting the Activision stuff and the Obsidian stuff and the new shit from Bethesda and the new shit from First Party, I don't see how you can, go, what are they doing that's that big of a deal? And then on top of it, I'm telling you, man, and again, Sony even is doing this. They announced it for the most part. The fact that I can sit there on the couch and play the biggest game in the world right now, which is Power World, not on Xbox hardware, not even hooked into the wall, streaming it on a fucking Apple Apple laptop, and it runs perfectly. I can't do that with Sony. I can't even go out and buy the Portal and fucking stream shit, except unless I actually have the fucking hardware turned on in my are you out of your mind? I mean, it's ridiculous. So, they're doing a lot of stuff that Sony isn't. And I know eventually Sony will start streaming to the Portal. But right now, what are you talking about? They're not doing any of that. Why? I'm sorry, I don't get it. They literally sold a fucking PSVR 2 that no one wanted. No one wanted that, unless it was like a tax write-off. And I'm not knocking it. I love VR. I wanted to pivot our Bartlett Jones company and just do VR when the first one came out. I think it's amazing. But what the fuck are you continuing to invest in that for? It's stupid. It's dumb.
Yeah, you piece of shit. Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you about VR. I'm not going to. It's a touchy subject for Acer. Not for me.
I don't know why it should be. No one's saying PSVR is not amazing, but it's a dumb business decision. I mean, because the first one you had
for me, I have no emotions anyway, so it's fine.
Hello, Data. The first one sold okay, but nothing was indicative of the fact that we need to make another one unless they were already in R&D and it cost more to kill it than to ship it.
Oh,
Yeah, no, 100%.
It depends what they're chasing, though. Obviously, we know the answer. They're chasing money, right? And if you look at them as a corporation chasing money, then it's a mistake to pursue it. But if you romanticize it and look at them as a corporation trying to give a, like, just chasing the best gaming experience and assuming that that will make them money, right? You can't, like, you want them to look at these kind of things and pursue them and try and deliver the best that they can rather than purely look at a spreadsheet and see, can we make money off of this? They're a corporation. I know that's not the reality, but it's a nice thought.
It's a nice thought.
Okay, well then that's let's return to from La La Land then, because that's not going to happen. I mean, it's a nice thought, but okay, it's like going. It's like, I mean, okay. So I have nothing to say. I have no way to confront
but it's
that
the thing that
statement.
I don't like about Microsoft, that they won't chase that. That they won't chase the best experience because it's not profitable. And that's a sad thing. That's a sad state of affairs.
That's I worked in video games starting in 1992. That was every game ever released it has to be profitable. The idea that they would put out a game that they don't care if it's profitable, I mean, it's a joke, and it is romanticizing the process. I get people who were shitting on subservice and they go, well, I don't want these corporations telling me what I can play based on what they put on the service. And I'm like, bitch, they do that anyway. The games they greenlight or don't greenlight is them telling you what you're going to play. That you think this shit's created in like a vacuum of pure creativity, like Willy Wonka's factory, and Sony, it just gets delivered to Sony and they go, the game is done. Whatever you wanted to create. It's just ridiculous. And this goes back to the whole gullible thing. It's like, it's almost like maybe that's why I get such pushback on the internet, because I'm like, people think I'm like ripping apart their little fantasy world, and maybe I am, but it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, if you're old enough to sit behind a computer screen, you're old enough to realize that you're being bamboozled, hoodwinked, and Plymouth rocked, and you know what I'm talking about. You know.
Okay, well, so I like that you accosted Asa, you idiot. You haven't got any common sense, and now it's my turn to get Jaffe's end of. You have no common sense, because we are going to talk about. Before we do, actually, let me read these super chats. Magnum, thank you for being a member for 2 months. These showcases are just marketing, not here for our entertainment. They can be both. They're not mutually exclusive, and they are. Tom909, thank you for the 2 months super chat. Everybody sub to Gaming Arcadia. It's above average. This is Asa's new show, definitely.
It's my channel. I've rebranded it. There's loads of shows over there. So yes, when you're not watching this, please do go over there and sub. There's stuff most days. Absolutely. Before we went live, we got this devastating almost confirmation. Now, this is where Jaffe comes at me, and I'll probably come at him as well. Microsoft is... The rumors have been circulating for a while that Microsoft's going third party. And just before we went live, we heard, according to Asia... Again, I don't know where the source is. I haven't seen the source of it, but it's coming from Idle Sloth. I trust him. And the silence from Microsoft says it all. And plus, we've had our own multiple sources saying similar things. We've got, according to a ZeniMax employee, Sarah Bond, Xbox director, who we thought was going to be our hero, ends up being the Judas potentially.
Ken Levine's Judith?
Not that one. Oh, you did talk about Judas. Fuck. That was even on the list. Fuck it. That's not that exciting.
It's because he's Jewish, isn't it? You son of a bitch.
Is it? Oh, it's Levine. Yeah, no, of course. No, actually it looks like a good game, but I completely forgot about it. It's nothing to do. Don't get me in trouble. Basically, according to this ZeniMax employee, Sarah Bond will speak in spring to explain a change in Xbox's strategy regarding Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves and other games that are going multi-platform. He quotes this dev who says, wait for springtime. Sarah Bond will say something. You guys will be fine. Okay, that doesn't give us much. The summary of other remarks from this guy, it's a metrics-driven exercise. No shit. Internet discourse isn't considered, but concerns are valid, which is basically saying, shut the fuck up, you pricks. You don't matter, but yeah, that's nice. Don't have too much of a cry about it.
Are you under the impression that people like us are affecting their day-to-day decisions? Is that a narrative that's going around?
we have made a difference to their day-to-day decisions. When we make enough noise in unison, David Jaffe, they have known to be on record to make record level U-turns in under 24 hours, sir. May I remind you of the Xbox Gold price hike? How they got rebuked as all corners of the earth fucking rebuked Phil Spencer. You bastard, you can't bring this in there, and not even one day. And they reversed it.
It's so
and we did it
cute
as a community.
And disturbing at the same time that
it isn't.
People with their YouTube shows are sitting around thinking, this matters. It's fun to talk about, but it matters as much as watching people who play football do analysis of the game after they've stopped playing and going, well, this is what Tom Brady should do. It's fun to talk about. Tom Brady's not sitting there going, I can't go out tonight drinking, boys. I got to see what the fucking guy who played football 10 years ago thinks I should do. Come on.
Listen, man. Listen, Phil Spencer said he listens to us.
Oh, wow. He's my friend. He comes over sometimes in my imagination. But that's just as good, my imagination.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, I'm not even joking. Yeah, I've got videos in the works already. I'm telling you right now, Jaffe, they do this, they are going to get fucked so hard. No Vaseline, they're going to get murked by it. So I get it from the Xbox guys. They call me a pony bot because when I criticize Xbox, they call me pony bot. But I'm telling you, there is a hardcore contingent of Xbox fans that rally behind everything. They suck the dick from the back, and even they will see this as absolute sacrilege, I hope, because
what
any piece
idiots,
of shit.
what fucking idiots.
No,
Go
not,
fucking play your fucking video games and enjoy the games.
Jaffe,
It is like I said in my tweet, it is literally like people bitching about movies, but instead of saying is, Killers of the Flower Moon better than Oppenheimer, and here's why. It's like, I saw it in this projector and you saw it through that projector. Bullshit. It's so dumb.
No, it's not.
It's dumb.
Jaffe,
Who gives a shit if Sony gets some fucking Xbox games? Who gives a shit? It's all going to be streaming. It's all going to be sub services in 5, 6, 7 years anyway. And then you get to have the real debates, just like you debate, do I want Netflix this month or HBO this month? Well, it depends who's got the best content.
Console wars becomes platform wars.
As it should, because then you're arguing about what you claim to love, which is the content and the games and the art form and the medium. You're arguing about the box that plays that shit. It's so dumb.
Jaffe.
Yeah.
In this space, there are PlayStation and Xbox are primary competitors in this space. You are advocating for the removal of
No, I'm not.
They're removed from competition. If their games are
they're fighting because they're fighting the wrong fight. Okay, it's like Microsoft said this a while back anyway, when they said, we're not really competing with Sony. We're competing with Apple. We're competing with Amazon. We're competing with someone else. That is the media competition that is lining up on the front lines to battle. It's not about who has the box. It's about who has the content.
I knew it was going to be Judas about this.
Okay,
you say they're fighting, but look, they're not even doing that. They have this is them conceding. You think Sony's going to be more relaxed or less relaxed when this happens? In the immediacy of it, not your future vision where everything is the street.
If Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves come to PlayStation, I don't think Sony's going to care.
If Xbox becomes third party more and more, because this is just to say Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves on their own, other than console warring, they don't make, they probably won't even make many sales.
Xbox is absolutely on track to stop making console hardware, and they will absolutely put Game Pass wherever it will be halved if they can make money, as they should. And guess what? What the Sony CEO said a couple of weeks ago is absolutely clear, just like everything else, that they're following Microsoft's plan. Because they're going to do that too. Why would you build a box? Well, let's take it from a customer standpoint. Yeah, I've had the religious experience of GeForce Now. Okay? GeForce Now allows, fuck your little boxes, fuck your Xbox and your PS5. I get to play on the best fucking computer gaming hardware in the world. And guess what? If better hardware comes along next week, I get to play on that because I don't have to worry about that shit anymore. Just like I don't have to worry about, how I get the signal into my television. It just works. Okay. So the idea that the war to fight is the war of the content Why would you worry about a fucking piece of hardware that plays it when that's just dumb. Exclusives matter, but they matter to the service. They don't matter to the box.
Jaffe, we have seen Microsoft and its handling of internal studios and quality. What I'm saying to you is, if Microsoft becomes fully third, I'm not talking about Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. If it becomes fully third party, you can kiss goodbye. That any real pressure, other than internal targets, any real pressure for them to deliver. Starfield got an extra year gestation time.
Okay, then they deserve to go out of business. Their ability to thrive in the content era has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that the content era is coming, whether you like it or not. There may be another company that says we want to thrive. Maybe it'll be Capcom.
Company. This is the problem.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be Capcom. Maybe it'll be Palworld developers. Maybe it'll be Valve. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? We'll have to wait and see. People come and go all the time in these kind of things. But
in this space at this time, look. If you could tell me, Gaz,
finish that thought. At this space and this time, what?
If a player, an entrant, can come into a very bitterly saturated, extremely controlled environment, like Sega could come in.
You're wrong.
So you think an entrant can come in, other than Amazon? And
may I present to you PUBG, Minecraft, Roblox, Palworld, Among Us, the entire ecosystem of what the younger generation of gamers are coming up are games they don't own, games they mostly subscribe to. What?
These aren't platforms. These are singular titles. Are you ascribing them?
What I'm saying is there are no platforms anymore. That's gone. My kids are teenagers and young adults now, but they didn't come up worrying about where I'm going to go play Minecraft. It just worked on whatever they had. And so if Mojang,
so you think there are no platforms anymore, like Sony and Xbox and PC?
I think that is certainly an antiquated business model, and it still works now. And if you have no vision, like certain people in the chat, they will go, but that's the way it is. No, that's the way it is now. But this is technology. This is forward thinking. This is always happening. This is why digital accounts for the vast majority of sales now instead of physical. When 5-6 years ago, you had people going, "Oh, digital's never going to take over physical." It's like, yeah, it is. But I like owning my games. Great. Nobody cares. Because it's cheaper, it's less expensive, and it's more convenient. Nobody cares what you like. They care what you buy. They care what you spend your money on. And it's not that I'm disrespecting what you like. I appreciate you like that. I appreciate your fandom. I appreciate you're an aficionado of the physical. But don't confuse your passion with the business and where it's going. Do you think these companies want to keep making hardware? You think Sony wants to make a PS6, PS7, PS8? If they could shed that cost and everybody's just working on PCs that live in a server farm, then they make more money.
Well, you say that, and I'm not even contesting that this is where the future is going to be heading.
Yeah.
Today we find out that Microsoft is a bit late in the hardware race, but they're definitely doing another console. Hardware.
We're not there yet, but we are rapidly approaching that position. And the younger generation doesn't care. So
thing is, Jaffe, as an Xbox fan, we've been waiting for Xbox to finally settle down. They've got their studios. They've got this bitter ABK deal that they wasted 2 years on. Finally done. Everything is settled. Here it is. Now go. Get your first parties. Don't even have to buy anything else. Just go. And before 2024 even starts, we're going everywhere. And you would say that that's forward facing, but I would say that's them conceding that they've lost the console war that they pretend doesn't matter to them, whilst at the same time trying to fail in satisfying console players. I just feel like, I could see that I can see this in the future, but we're not there yet. And Xbox
but where we are is look, if Microsoft could put, let me ask you this, if Microsoft could put Game Pass on PlayStation, I would love it. Would you not love it?
Then you have no competition. Who's
You have plenty of competition. Where are you getting? You have no hardware competition.
Yeah.
But so what? You have plenty of software competition. You have service-based competition. You want Ubisoft Plus this month, PS Plus this month, or you want Game Pass this month. Depends who's got the best games. That's the competition.
Microsoft.
Don't you care more about the games and the hardware?
Don't you always point at Microsoft and its leadership for the failures of the titles?
What I always point out is Phil Spencer's vision at a Metavision is brilliant and excellent, and I love what he has done. I don't think he has put in place yet, or we've seen him putting in place, maybe he has, and we haven't seen it bear fruit yet, a management team that knows how to produce his vision when it comes to software. And hopefully with the changes, that will bring us to that. But I don't know. But that doesn't negate the value of his vision. It may negate his ability to execute the vision, but someone's going to do it, because I think he's spot on with how he thinks games are. I think his vision of how games are spreading and how they're going to be played and how people feel about them is spot on. Whether or not he's the man to lead the product development team to achieve the very important pivot point of you got to have the software, that we don't know yet, but that doesn't negate his vision. I
think that vision is born out of necessity.
Every vision is born out of necessity, but complacency is born out of success, aka PlayStation right now.
Okay. Well, I don't have. If Xbox announces that it's going third party, I don't have much faith in Xbox really doing the things that you have said Xbox need to do, which is what PlayStation do with their internal studios.
Yeah.
And get rigorous testing and quality assurance, because they don't need to, because they have less pressure to do that. I'm not saying that they're going to be completely lax, but they've removed that impetus. It's the difference between getting a year to develop or fine-tune Starfield. If that was a multi-plat game coming to PlayStation, I can almost guarantee you that game would have come out a year earlier.
But what you're arguing is you seem to live under this illusion that Xbox's biggest goal is to outsell Sony's hardware.
I'm not saying that.
You are saying that because you're saying if that competition of let's outsell PlayStation's hardware goes away, our desire to make our games competitive goes away. That's what you just said as it relates to Starfield.
People always mix the hardware point quite strongly. I get it, like the physical box, but what I'm saying is, if you stop viewing Sony as your primary competitor, that's what you do, right? Because this is what Satya Nadella is saying. This is what Phil Spencer is saying. We don't see them as competitors. If they in this arena, you've got Sony, you've got PlayStation, you've got Xbox, and if
you see the world that way, that's not the way it is.
It is that way.
It's that way because you have a show where you give a shit about who sells more hardware. Phil Spencer also said that if Starfield comes out and it's 11, it's not going to move the needle in terms of console sales. That's
the thing I'm talking about. But he says we lost the most important generation for us to lose. He's talking about winning and losing in the vein of who? Sony.
If they felt that way, they wouldn't have been spending the money they are. They are in on Game Pass. Whether it's going to work or not, we'll see. Whether they have the capability to make it work or not, we'll see. But to them, more subscribers to Game Pass is a win, because in 5-10 years, Game Pass will, or whoever makes it work, will still be viable. PS Plus will still be viable. The consoles will not. You've got to understand that the shift has been happening. It's continuing to happen. You are arguing this old school brick and mortar, have the hardware in your house mentality, which I understand right now that's where we are. But Microsoft has enough money to plan for the future, and the future is the content. And that's what they're
fuck the brick and mortars. I'm talking about exclusivity. I'm talking about.
I understand, but if your only wares that you put out are software, then your exclusivity is just about you want your service to have more subscribers. You want to be Spotify and you don't want to be YouTube Music. So you make a deal with Jay-Z or Beyonce or Taylor Swift or whatever. It becomes about what's on your service, not what stereo you're playing the record on.
Okay, so we agree the distinguishing factor is what's on your service, right?
Yes.
So don't dilute that by having it everywhere and getting your competitor's service. That's all I'm asking.
It's a different service. Game Pass is the service. PlayStation is a means to get more people to subscribe to the service. The service you're talking about is a piece of hardware. In that sense, you're right.
This is Xbox. This is the environment. You're talking about Game Pass as the service. I'm just
really quickly because, like, your stereo analogy, right?
Yeah.
Stereos are still competitive. This is for Gaz more so. Like, stereos still exist and they compete on quality and value and all of these kind of things that you'd actually want to see your hardware competing on.
I'm like, what was he talking about? Stereo, what, speakers? What are we talking?
Yeah, it's still a competitive market. So if you're talking about console hardware and you're worried that Sony and Microsoft aren't going to compete, they still have to make good stuff.
No, but what I'm saying is stereos are a niche market now. Buying a record player and subwoofers, and most people listen through their iPod or their computer. That's just the way it is now. When I was a kid in the 80s, you would go to the car stereo store and it was like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking trick out my car stereo and make it sound good. Nobody does that anymore for the most part. There are aficionados that do, and that's great. They should, like I said, they should have fun with that, but they have to accept that they are now a little niche of the market because convenience and cost and good enough usually win out. They just do because most people are not watching shows like this. And I'm not saying I'm just arguing it from a practical standpoint. I'm not saying I don't understand the sadness of watching what we grew up with go away, but you can be sad, but you can also still be a realist and go, yeah, but it's happening. So
I'm not saying it's not happening. It is definitely happening. I'm actually getting it in the neck for saying it's happening, whilst also simultaneously saying I hate the fact that it's happening.
Totally fair. But what you're saying there is accurate. And so all I'm saying is when you're saying they're not competing, they're absolutely competing because they're competing against, I would imagine, if you put Game Pass on PlayStation Plus, the competition is no longer with the hardware. The competition is, am I getting your $19 this month, or is PS Plus getting your $19? Which suddenly means PS Plus is going to have to work harder to put more day one or compelling content on their service. I have both services and I like them both, but I rarely go to PS Plus because as good as their stuff is, I've played most of it. Whereas every week, even though I may not want to play, like I would have never thought to play Persona 3. I tried Persona 4. It wasn't for me, but I'm hearing such great things. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it 4 or 5 hours and just try it. That's on Game Pass. I'm glad I'm giving them my money this month, right? That's the competition, not the hardware. And I think if you love the medium, which I do, and people seem to claim to do, then that's what you should be excited about anyway, because it's about the games. Why do you care what you're playing it on?
It's because the company's behind the games, and Microsoft has not given me the confidence to suggest that they will do well by this model by leveraging the quality.
Okay, but then that's a different complaint. Then why not just be annoyed at Microsoft's games? Because whether they're on Sony or not, you're saying you don't like them. I preferred Microsoft's type of games, the diversity of games, but Microsoft... For the ages, Xbox fans have been, well, some Xbox fans have been demanding, just like you have been saying, that Xbox needs to tighten the ship, get their quality assurance, everything in order. Yeah. Microsoft, with this model, can just relax a little bit more. Why? Why can they relax? They still have to compete against PS Plus, Ubisoft Plus, all the other subscription services. Netflix is gotten the God of War art director and one of the Halo keys, and they're making a AAA game that's going to be a Netflix subscription-based game. You know, that's what people are going to be.
We had this generation, we had a direct result of Microsoft leveraging its competition, Sony pricing its console accordingly because of direct competition. You take that away, you got it. Sony have more carte blanche to charge $80, $90, whether or not they can survive on that. They're a powerhouse. They're embarrassing Xbox and console sales. But you're saying Sony will be less relaxed or more relaxed when Microsoft goes third party? And now, to me, the answer is obviously more relaxed.
I think the hardware division might be happier for a little bit, but ultimately the hardware is a means to get the games, right? And so I think if you're Sony, and I'm not saying Sony would allow Game Pass on PlayStation, but let's just, we're talking about the future. Let's assume it happens, just like we never thought we'd see Spider-Man in the Marvel universe either, but so if you're the software division of Sony and they're going to bring, I mean, seriously, you're fucked. If you're the software division of Sony and they can get Game Pass on PlayStation, you are fucked like a fuck.
That's
because,
happen. Yeah.
But well, I understand. But what I'm saying is, you think it's bad enough that you have to own an Xbox or a computer or a phone, and you're willing to play Xbox Game Pass on the phone, or use your PlayStation. You've at least got a buffer. Like you see it in the chat. It's like, well, I'm going to, like you said, people are putting Stellar Blade up on a pedestal because it's an anemic output year for these guys, right? Mm-hmm. Suddenly, if on that same piece of hardware, you can play, quote, for free, psychologically free, good enough games, or you can spend $70 on Stellar Blade. If you're first party, you're going to suddenly have to start working even harder. Because you're going to have to figure out how to differentiate why that $70 is, really worth $60 more than my monthly of Game Pass. I think that's good. I think that's good for competition. That's good for the medium.
So the long-term play, set aside this notion that Game Pass is on PlayStation, but let's just say the real potential future where Xbox do go third party. If Xbox go third party, their games are on Game Pass on Xbox consoles and PCs and mobile, but not on PlayStation.
Okay.
You think that will be a sufficient enough to guarantee competition where Sony cannot rest on their laurels because people might be enticed towards Game Pass?
I don't think they're competing with Sony anymore. I think if you get rid of your hardware, which I don't know if it's making them money anyway. I don't know if they've turned a profit on the hardware or not. But if you walk away from hardware and you put your software everywhere, it makes you at Microsoft, you better make sure your fucking software is pretty fucking good. They double down. They've burned the bridges behind them because now they're like, look, we don't even have the hardware exclusive to kind of buttress it up. We're competing across the board with everyone. And I think that's fucking great, man. I think that's what I think. We'll see. We'll see.
My impression and understanding of the manner in which Xbox has to date managed its studios and the quality in first party, it doesn't inspire confidence. And I've always
fuck yeah, but I've always said that. That's why Phil Spencer blocked me, because I made him look. I think that's the reason. I made a couple of videos, but on one of them I was just like, dude, the fuck are you doing? You don't launch a fucking piece of console hardware without any games. And that's what they did. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. This is what's frustrating for an Xbox fan. You're fighting at the software. You fucking bow out from the exclusivity, which directly affects competition. But we're talking about a model where the software will do it, even if it's third party. In the interim, in the short term, I can almost guarantee you will see a flaccid performance. Whether or not that's because of the status quo of Xbox Studios, I doubt it. I think it's just because Xbox will loosen a little bit of their quality assurance. I can say it with such confidence, even though this is pie in the sky, me guessing stuff. Starfield getting an extra year to in development was as a result of the pressure that the fans and the PlayStation put on that platform to do well. Had it been a multi-platform game, Microsoft wouldn't even have granted that extra year, because Bethesda thought, well, you don't even need that extra year.
I mean, but that's anything that's important gets a little bit more time if it needs it. But where I would argue with you is it was important for Game Pass more than it was important for the hardware division. Because Game Pass is their bread and butter. Just like that's why they fought so hard. I mean, not the only reason, but that's why this coming Christmas is really going to be fascinating when Call of Duty comes out. And assuming it's going to be like we assume, that it's, quote, free on Game Pass and everyone else has to pay $70 for it, that's going to be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. Yeah. The game you usually spend $70 on, your friends are playing for free. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, that will be quite interesting spectacles.
And that's why when Bond talks about, or at least the rumor from this Bethesda person, Bond said something like, I forget what it was, but it just sounded like she was saying, when you see it, you'll understand, right? My take has always been, if you start putting first party games on PlayStation, and the PlayStation fans are having to spend $60-$70 for the games that their friends are getting for free on Game Pass, it's actually going to make PlayStation look worse. Because then you're like, I got to pay for Hi-Fi Rush like $29. Yeah. And this guy got it for free.
There's definitely an element of that. Absolutely.
I mean,
I'm not saying that that strategy doesn't have any plus sides, and that's a big one where, depending on Microsoft's marketing, is terrible, but they could actually really double down and use that and say, look, hey, like with COD is going to be, this is why COD is such an intriguing potential example that we get to see this year. How does Microsoft handle that and the messaging behind that and propagating? Because a lot of people don't even know what Game Pass is. So
I know it's horrible.
Chance.
Their marketing is horrible.
Yeah, it is shit. But I'm still maintaining my position. But it's good conversation. It's good to have a.
But it is. I wish the chat was smarter. Some of them. Look at this guy, Scattles or whatever. He says Jaffe just muted his point. If Game Pass matters, then exclusivity for Game Pass has to matter. No third party. It is exclusive to Game Pass if they have Game Pass on Sony. But what matters right now, I would imagine, if it goes to Sony without Game Pass, you're going to have to pay for it, and it makes Game Pass look better. So it still buttresses up the Game Pass model, is what I'll say. And Black John says, we see it now with MLB The Show. Right. I get to play it for free because I have Game Pass. The fact that they don't put that for free on PS Plus Premium is ridiculous. Because I get they're not going to do that with God of War Ragnarok. But the baseball game, and it's a huge moneymaker for them.
Yeah.
And so I get it. It's working. But I'm like, I ain't paying for that game when I can get it for free on Game Pass.
Yeah. Angry Hippie, thank you with the $5 super chat. Goes, Microsoft and Sony are publishing on PC. Both are basically third party anyway, to a certain degree. I do think Sony's gap that it gives between PlayStation and PC releases is going to get smaller and smaller, and eventually day and date when this, according to Jaffe, and I don't disagree, that the hardware model gets outmoded. Assuming we don't have like a solar flare or a World War III, we can go back a few years anyway.
Right.
Which may sound silly, but it could happen. Machine XP, thank you for the $5 super chat. Xbox will be a first of its kind, a hybrid mixed first and third party, not a big deal. I'm just thinking Sega. But yeah, we'll see. I think it sounds like this is going to be a hybrid, whatever Sarah Bond is alluding to, but the messaging better be fucking clear, because Xbox fans are going to be holding the pitchforks and I'll be there on the front lines. Dub with a member for 23 months. Shout out to you, man. It feels a little bit like Xbox is becoming more Microsoft, in my opinion, in its strategy. Windows software is on everything, including their own hardware, as an example. Absolutely. And this is what I don't like. It's the Microsoftification of it all. The Borg just taking over, like, we are everywhere, spread it. That's it. STDs for everyone. YJT99 with the $5 super chat. So Apple should just work with Android and stop making iPhones? Ludicrous statements by Jaffe. Wait, what? I don't follow that. Apple should just...
There is... No, it's not ludicrous, because the phone is the television set or the monitor that you need to run the content. Up until now, you needed the console to run the content. Yeah. You don't anymore. So no, you're just wrong.
Where would you interface with the OS?
Yeah, here's one I would tell you: Apple Arcade, which, by the way, is a great subscription service, $4.99 a month, has some great games. If you in there, no microtransactions, no ads, just genuinely great cell games, mobile games. If they said, hey, we're going to put that on Android, I think that would make sense. If they put, and maybe they will, just like they eventually put iTunes on Windows. But iTunes still competes with, the Google Play Store or whatever the fuck they sell their music. Not anybody buys music anymore, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something seriously, chat. Let me tell you something. If you haven't experienced it, you don't know. Okay, I'm telling you, whether it's Sony, because Sony sounds like they're headed this way too, making a PC store for their PC games, and they'll probably bring in other games to compete with Steam and all that. But until you experience good streaming, whether it's from Sony eventually or whatever, and you don't need the hardware, and it feels like the future. It is ridiculous to push against it. I'm sorry. I get some of you guys, like King Deuce is like, well, I like to own my shit. That's great. No one's saying you're a bad guy, but you're not the majority. The minute you can turn on your smart TV and it's like, hey, there's a new Last of Us game. I like that game. Oh, you got to subscribe to PS Plus. Cool. Let me enter. I got it. And you're just playing it. And it's the greatest graphics because it's running off the very best hardware PC. And they don't have to worry about limits of a console they sold 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You're going to be happier than a pig in shit. And you know who you can do at that point? You can come on over to Papa Jaffe's stream and say, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Here's a subscription for your Patreon and or your YouTube channel. And I'll say, not a problem, pal. Sit on down, take a load off, and let's talk about swimming with bow-legged women. That's what I would say.
Well, I think I would admit that the technology is there, and I haven't even tried GeForce. Now you're the second, third, fourth, fifth person who has sung its praises. And we keep saying this technology's out in the future. It seems like it's there now, and almost criminal I haven't tried it. So perhaps I should try
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I will definitely do so. And shout out to K. Asante. Thank you for the $10 super chat. It goes, the truth here is that we greybeards are horseshoe makers, and the Jetsons just showed up in the upper atmosphere. We and the old model aren't the future. Great discussion, gents.
That's right. In Twin War, your excuse, he says latency is still shit in America, though. I'm sorry, but you're just wrong. It may be shit for you, and it may not be good enough for everyone. I believe that 100%. You're right about that. But you no longer get to paint that with that brush that broad. The internet in America is not some backwater hillbilly Appalachian town internet. It's pretty fucking good, and most games you can play. I get it. There are people who've had bad experiences, and that's a real thing. And until that gets solved for a lot more people, it's going to struggle. But don't act like everybody's having this shit internet experience, because they're not. They're just not.
And DD Raptor says, does David think that Game Pass on Switch 2 will appear before the PlayStation 5?
I don't think so, but I think Nintendo is more backwards than Sony when it comes to the whole walled garden thing. I think they are very protective, and that's fine. I mean, you know, but I would say it goes to Sony before it goes to Switch, but I don't think it's, I would be surprised if it happens on PS5, but you know, it might.
Yeah. No,
JJ, I'm not happy to cut off other places around the world because America has great internet. No, I'm not happy. I'm saying, God damn, are you 5? All you have to do is live for like 15 years and you see this is the path. People get it. Like I don't want to spend $3,500 on a goddamn Apple iVision thing. But you know what? Eventually the price is going to come down and you're going to see most people using augmented reality. That doesn't mean that Apple needs to just not make it until they can make it for retail $200. This is how progress is done. Okay? It doesn't mean that I don't give a fuck about another country. It just means that, look, people got to step on the moon, man. You got to go to the moon, step on the moon. Otherwise, you should be sitting in the same place. You'd be blowing into your cartridges, trying to put them in the goddamn thing to get them to run if people thought the way you did. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, we are entering into a new phase potentially. However Sarah Bond handles this messaging, it's going to be fireworks galore. And I hope Microsoft have got their bulletproof vests ready, because there's going to be a shit ton of fire depending on what the message is, how they handle it, and how they reassure Xbox fans that Xbox is doing right by them. I'm at the stage now where I'm like, I have vouched for this company through some pretty shitty moments because of an ideal that I was hoping they would strive to achieve, and they were getting there. And right at the end, when I thought, here we go, this happened. Now I get it. This is just a circular point at this stage, but just to sum it up, we'll see what's happening. This has been an interesting show. And Nivo Steck, thank you so much for being a member for 3 months. Hit the like button, gamers. Great panel, great show. Mahalo and aloha.
Isn't that awful? Isn't that terrible to do that in the microphone? I love this microphone.
Sounds like Darth Vader giving head. Like, but yeah, man. Jaffe, it was a good chat, was it not?
Yeah, it was a fun chat. You goddamn right it was a fun chat. I mean, now listen, look, here's what I'll tell you. If I can convince you which I have, how wrong you are about Palestine, Israel. The fact that this is only a little bit harder, and I'll bring you around to this side too. No, it was great. I loved being here. Thank you guys for having me, putting up with me. Thank you, chat, for putting up with me and having me and hanging out with me. If you like my brand of nonsense and malarkey, come find me at David Scott Jaffe on Twitter or search me on YouTube. I have a channel over there. We would love to have you for our very frequent streams and video.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jaffe, for turning up. Hey, sir, do we do the outros? What you've started a whole new things. Tell the people's Gaming Arcadia. What is it about?
Your Gaming Arcadia, loads of stuff over there. Mostly podcasts and some live streams as well, but podcasts is the big thing. There's going to be various podcasts with various people most days of the week. I've got the Xbox One up and running with Gamsley and Deadly Headley. That started on Thursday and will run every Thursday. It was well received, so very, very happy about that one. I've got a new one coming hopefully this Tuesday, but getting all the last pieces in place is proving a little bit tricky, so hopefully this Tuesday. So please do check it out over there if you can. We did miss Frank Sinatra's super chat, and I can't find it right now, but he was just singing David Jaffe's praises. I know that it mentioned Twisted Metal as part of his childhood.
If you go, you know how on the YouTube,
I've got it. Yeah,
you can go. You know they separate them now, right? Which is great. You have top chat, live chat, and then they have something else, fans or something.
Yeah, fan funding. And
they put them all in there now.
Apologies on how I missed that, and thank you for the $14 Canadian. And we round up the show with this super chat because I already bought a cheeseburger tonight. Jaffe is a gaming god amongst us mortal men. You made my teenage years awesome. Right. Hashtag Twisted Metal Black, which is my favorite. Are you liking the show? Are you liking the Twisted Metal show?
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's great fan service. It's a lot of fun. There's some genuine great payoff. I don't want to spoil it, but like when a certain car gets revealed in that game, it's like, whoa. And then what they're bringing for season 2 with some of the more fantastical stuff like Mr. Grimm, the Grim Reaper, Axel is in it. Calypso is in it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's good stuff.
I need to check that out. They need to bring you on streaming platforms here in the UK for flip's sake. But when it does come, I'm definitely gonna, because I love Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal Black though, that was the dark vibes, was so crazy. I still remember the CGI cutscenes, by the way, of that the maid and whatnot. It's crazy to me that you worked on that, man. You have no idea. You'll never have an idea. But the terrorist in me really enjoyed the fact that you can shoot the plane down and it turns into that pipe into that building, and that was very controversial at the time. Do you remember? It was like
coming up next, we got Gaz the Terrorist on for your drive home. He's going to tell you all about jihad and how it's coming to your town very, very soon. What's really interesting about Gaz is he is one of the few jihadis that is going to ride into town with a knife, a scimitar, basically, as well as on a camel. And he is going to make sure that when he beheads you, he at least allows you to shout out whether you like Xbox or Game Pass or PlayStation first. And what's going to happen is if you give the wrong answer, you lose the head. If you give the right answer, you lose the head too. But at least, you've had his blessings, and you won't get all the versions, but you get a couple of them. So you'll get Phil Spencer sloppy seconds or something like that. So
oh god, that's hell. And on that note, shout out to Flag Sinatra for just being generous with the super chat and just saying thank you. No, honestly, thank you, and thank you to David Jaffe. He doesn't understand it because he never will, but thank you for all the memories that you gave us when we were kids. Just the value of the subjective, how it felt to play Twisted Metal Black, the music, everything, the vibes. It's just incredible. So I'm
glad you liked our stuff. I appreciate it on behalf of all of us who made it.
You were the father behind it. But on that note, everyone, if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. My channel is finally happy. Today I had my meet the fuckers moment. You can read into that what you will, but it was a significant milestone in my personal life. So hopefully I get I ensnared a woman for marriage, maybe, potentially. I thought you were like milking a cat or something.
Maybe
something similar. But I won't say too much until everything's official.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
How many batteries does it take?
And it's got a screen with Phil Spencer's face on it. Please
lick faster, Gaz. Lick faster, Gaz.
Link first. Oh, that's fucked up. Yeah, please hit the like button. I'll get the timestamps up soon. Please share it out. And thank you again. And we'll see you next week. Peace.